Okay, welcome guys, welcome. This is episode 66 of ChatTactic. We're going to be looking at Age of Wonders today, but before I get started, congratulations Spain, if anyone's a Spanish supporter, for winning the Women's World Cup. I didn't get to watch the match, unfortunately. It's a bit late for me because it means that I don't get any sleep at all if I stay up. I watched the Australia match, which was a bit disappointing, to be honest. England played very, very well, and Australia didn't play very well. Oh, sorry, that was previously, and then we actually had that happened in between this one as well, and then Sweden absolutely clinical against Australia in the bronze medal playoff. But congratulations, Spain. Yeah, and Sweden got bronze, yes, and really did deserve it. Like Australia, it's sort of funny. Like, Australia went further than what they should have in the competition. Technically, I think they're rated 10th in the world or something like that. So they certainly played above what they did. But the big legacy really of what's happened with Australia sort of hosting it and then also doing fairly well in the actual games themselves is it's left the people, like the kids in Australia, are really, really into it, which is fantastic. So that's been a fantastic legacy for Australia. So anyway, that's good for us. But no, Sweden certainly deserved to win the bronze medal. Australia really were flat in that game, and I didn't get to see the Spain-England game. I was looking forward to seeing that when I watched the highlights. It looked like Spain dominated that, but when I look at the stats, if we go and have a look, the stats don't seem. Oh yeah, there's still 13 shots and then 5 on target, but it's still got England's still got 3 shots on target in there. Possession doesn't mean anything in these games. Accuracy was 10% higher for Spain. The Poms are really, really dirty players. So you expect 16 fouls. You expect double the fouls there. I think there was an incident where one of the English players did stomp on someone, not in that game, but in one of the earlier games, which I thought, gee, that's a bit rough. 1 yellow card each, no red cards. There we go. So 4 offsides for England and 7 corners to 3. But it was good. And Australia did get robbed a little bit. There was a penalty that was awarded in the Australian-Sweden game, which sort of, I think, deflated Australia a lot because I don't know if it should have been a penalty. It was pointed out to me, actually. It was one of my friends actually pointed out that's actually usually would have been a red card send-off before the for the Australian player, rather than just a penalty. It would have been a penalty and a red card. But when you looked at it, there's no intent. There was no intent there. So anyway, I'll still bitch about that. Anyway, hi guys. So hi Bassline and William, Rogue, Jamison, Michael, Tom, Sithel, and so you're saying Sweden got bronze. Yes, they did, and as I say, fully deserved it. Hi Maladroit. So Sithel saying still good for Australia. It was actually the most important thing, I think, really is just the legacy it's going to leave for just getting the kids excited. There were so many kids in the stadiums when you sort of had a look at it. There was I was talking to one of my friends at the surf club, and some of their friends had actually driven to Sydney and all sorts of places to sort of go, and they caught every single game that the Australians played in with their family. Like they took their little kids down to sort of watch it, which is fantastic. A lot of the games that Australia played were up in Brisbane, which is near where we are. So we're now north of Brisbane, basically. So it's easy for us to sort of get to Brisbane. Hi Bubo, how you going? And Chris is saying, so I have been seeing you have been playing the new Master of Magic DLC. What's your impressions of it? It's really, really cool, actually. It's very, very good. I'm really pleasantly surprised by it. I'm pleasantly surprised with the balance of it. The fact that it's sort of more of it sort of has like a different bent with it being a little bit more. Well, I know that like Battle Mode had mentioned before he didn't like the steampunk aspect of it. It doesn't feel steampunk. It almost feels almost Necron-y in a sort of a weird way, almost like they're sort of cyborgs. There are a few units which are a little bit unbelievable, I guess, with the way that it sort of does play out. Like, for example, the submarine units fire torpedoes and stuff like this, but it doesn't bother me. But the balance overall is very, very cool. So when you're saying 10 years and you might win it, yeah, I don't know. Like it's sort of one of those things. I think that the world is, particularly in women's soccer, is really getting balanced now. Like there's so many players now that play all around the world. I think that the professionalism of particularly of the European leagues has and it's not just England, because a lot of the Australian players play in England. So about half of them, I think, actually are professional players in the British League. But I think there's some that play on the continent as well. But there's a lot going on, and I think that the more of that sort of comes together, it's going to really flatten out the. It's going to be exciting. I think like for so long it was dominated by the US. For a great period of time, but now it really does seem to be sort of fairly level, which is great in women's soccer, which is awesome. So it's sort of. I just and I hope that I don't know. I shouldn't sort of say it, but I there's a lot of changes happening at the moment with the trans rights and stuff like that. I hope that women's sport does stay for women, and that they end up with women's and opens, or some other sort of way of actually handling that aspect of things. But I know that there's a massive push in the soccer groups, particularly from the US, to actually include the sort of the trans rights type thing. I hope I'm not being contentious with that, but I do sort of feel that having 3 daughters, I would want them to be comfortable playing sport. It's really hard with particularly with girls, particularly as they're going through their teenage years, to keep them in sport. And so you don't want any reason not to. And I'm not talking about elite. I'm just talking about because sport is fantastic for young people. I love that what it does in terms of playing as part of a team. You learn so much from it, and any impediment to that, anything that gets in the way of them enjoying that aspect is, for me, should be, it should be sort of culled away from the actual core of what it's all about. Bestline saying, why don't trans compete with other trans? Well, if you have open and then you have women's, that way you do keep it separate, and that way there's not exclusion as such. It just means that they're included in the open category rather than the men's category. So it sort of becomes a bit more open. But all the other sports are in the world now, so it's starting to sort of separate them, back where it should have been, 10 years ago, basically. But anyway, it's. I think Canada is still way, way on the other side of things. Like it's, you keep on sort of seeing there's people now coming in and for a joke, sort of competing in women's sports in there just as a one-off type thing. Because I think in Canada you can just sort of say, hey, I'm identifying as a female today, and so I'm going to compete in this particular event, whatever it might be. So Canada's very, very much on the other side. Anyway, it's just one of those sort of contentious issues, so I shouldn't really sort of delve in too much of it. Okay, so based on saying got to get kids into sport at a young age, it's one of those things. Like I certainly, I grew up playing sport, and I don't ever remember not playing sport. Like as a young person, and just and there was no option. I don't ever remember that. I don't ever remember not wanting to play it as well. Like it's sort of it's one of those things. But I think that now, today when you've got so many computer games and stuff like that, it's hard to get young people outside. So I'm hoping that things like the World Cup actually do a great job at sort of getting people outside. I think that's one of the things with even with doing these sort of computer game sort of shows and stuff like that, or the the different games that we actually then get to play. You still got to find that balance somehow, and it's it can be hard at times. Anyway, that's. So 6 Ages 2 came out today. I don't know anything about that one, Chondi. So no at all, no idea. Remind me if we don't get to it, because I'll try to sort of come back into that one. Hi Sorbicol, how you going? And Sean is saying hi Daz, and Fabius is saying it feels more rusty robots / cyborgs. Yes, it's certainly that way, but it is balanced. It's like it's got weaknesses, and it does have some strengths as well. Feels a bit Crix, which I bet very few will get. I don't get it either, so Sithel. Okay, so Viren Games are saying hi Daz, and Rogue is saying it's ridiculous and out of hand. Hopefully people will use common sense and keep things the way that they are. Yeah, it's sort of, I just hope that there's not, I know that even with our kids, we had them going to one school where the school was only interested in elite sports people, and so they they basically just wanted to have their teams. The only people they wanted competing in sport were the best kids, at the school to do it, because they wanted the school to win as much as they possibly could, which meant that so we actually took our kids out of that school and took them to another school, because that was not the philosophy that we wanted. It should be about inclusion for kids. You don't want to get in the way of that, whether it be through elitism or through through introducing other impediments to particularly, as I say, raising 3 girls. It was it's one of those important things for me anyway, to sort of try to keep young people involved in stuff. I mean, my kids are all grown up now, but it's important, in whatever interest they might actually happen to have. All right, what else we got? Just keep sports biologically separated, says Team Games. Yeah, I think it's there seems to be. I think that people can now talk about it openly, whereas like a year ago you couldn't, because you were then it was treated as hate speech, which it's not. It's not from my perspective anyway. I just want to protect what women and girls can actually sort of do. Okay, so Cecil's saying there's some bad actors. It's a complex issue, however, but the goal should be to create a fair game that feels open. Yes, exactly. So, do you enjoy Total War Games, says Team Games? I do, to a degree. It's sort of funny, actually. I really liked the very, very first one, the first Shogun, that one that came out, and I really enjoyed that a lot. And then my interest drained right off until the Warhammer series came, and then I really enjoyed it again at that point. But I don't get to cover their games, so I'm not part of their inner group, so I don't get the actual the games to show. I used to at one small point in time. It took me so long to break into that group, and everything that I did to get in is just through circumstance. I just never ever. I kept on sort of. They kept on forgetting that I was supposed to be on the inner loop, and so there was just a whole series of different things, and that happens a lot actually. I mean, it happened a lot with the previous, like with Age of Wonders Planetfall. I was supposed to be in the inner group, and then I wasn't, type thing. So I missed out until the day before release, before I actually got my hand on the game. Actually, the day of release actually is when I actually got my hands on it, and so that was. Which meant I had no time to prepare, and so I was a bit pissed off of that, because Age of Wonders has always been a major part of my my content. So anyway, that was just through sort of fumbling around. I think also being in Australia, you tend to for PR companies and things like that, they don't tend to think of Australia as being part of any particular group, which is we're Asia Pacific in one area. We're not part of the US or the Europe markets, which are big. We're not really part of Asia as well, so we're sort of out on our own. So they always assume that the main viewership you have is from your own country, and for me that's not the case. My main viewership is from US and Europe, so it's sort of and I think Australia comes in sort of underneath there somewhere, or sort of around third or fourth, I think, when I sort of look at it. But it's predominantly US and Europe. But anyway, that's the way it goes. Okay, so yes, this is saying, like Dave says, it's good to get kids into sport, and so that they enjoy it. Like that's the important thing. You want them playing it their whole life if you can do it. So Nooble Tourist saying, hey, just got here. Did you talk about the Watcher update already? No, we haven't started yet. I've got that one ready to go back over here in this particular tab. So we'll get to that one in just a minute. So Trank is saying, greetings, Daz, and all the usual marbles. Actually, that reminds me, there's no giveaway today, so it's just going to be, again, a bit of a marble run at the end, but without any actual keys to give away. And saying, Michael's saying, hi, Daz, and chat, and I think Baseline is saying, I think Creative Assembly is on the out. Yeah, look, it was very hard dealing with the different people surrounding Creative Assembly. Or quite often you're not dealing with the actual company itself. You're quite often dealing with a PR that's separate from the company. But with Creative Assembly, whatever it was just through circumstance. And to me, to be honest, like just to be out there about it, when they were giving you the keys and things, and a lot of developers expect this, but they expect you to cover every time that they give you something, they expect you to cover it, and I don't do that. You can see there on my desktop, like I've got so many this is my try area of games that where developers have given me a key and I just haven't got to them. But I've got like, this is a long list already, you know, of things, and this I sort of stop at some point. So I've got a hell of a lot of stuff in here of things that are ready to try. Like there's just squillions and squillions of them. And also, like if I start to play a game and I don't like it, I don't cover it. And so that's actually something that, because I don't want to be covering stuff that I don't think you guys will enjoy. So for me, it's very important. And it's similarly, like if I get a sponsorship, I've got to be really careful about the sponsorship. I don't sign contracts unless I can actually test what I'm going to play and then say no, I don't want to do that. So it's sort of, because if I don't enjoy it, I don't really want to be showing it. I think there's been one or two instances where I've been 50-50, but again, as long as I can sort of say what I think of a game, I'm happy enough to do that with sponsorships. But yeah, with there was a few games with the Total War series I didn't really enjoy, and at that point they then sort of said, look, if you're not going to cover the games, you're on the out again. And I said, yeah, no worries, I'll just stay on the out, because I don't like I do see my main, like if I start to do that, that's going to be very, very short-term gain and long-term pain for me, I think, in terms of my own credibility here on YouTube. So for me, I've got to be very, very careful of maintaining that. That's why I won't just say I like a game because I happen to like the developer or whatever it might be. But yeah, I've got a lot of things in here. I might talk about a few of these games. Some of these are quite interesting in terms of what we saw. I've been trying to, I might even just touch on a few of these games. There's some interesting games that sort of are in this particular group. And I've actually just recorded a video yesterday for Menace, and I've sort of now moved that one up into my miscellaneous games. I haven't actually uploaded that particular video yet, but I will, because that's quite a good game as well. It's just sort of it's been out for a little while, but it rates very, very highly. Anyway, I'll get to these games. If you do mention a game and I forget, and I've already forgotten the 6 Ages 2, I can see it there at the very, very top of my chat. But we'll get there. So I hope it's the same. Daz, have you ever played any grand strategy games from Koei? For example, Norbunga's Ambition or Romance of the Three Kingdoms? See, the Three Kingdoms. There was Three Kingdoms Total War. I did play that one. I love the story of Romance of the Three Kingdoms, the actual, the original story, and that was it's such a great epic. It's sort of one of those things I would like to find more information about it, because you don't hear much about Romance of the Three Kingdoms in the West at all. In fact, you don't hear much about it in China anymore, which is sort of surprising. It was funny. My wife has taught English, over the internet and that with Chinese kids and things, and she was and we met one of the families had come out on a holiday, and anyway it was 3 generations essentially, like the kid, the adults, and then the grandparents. And the grandparents knew the Romance of the Three Kingdoms intimately, because that was okay. But then culturally, I think it's now been sort of crushed a little bit. I don't think that many people I think they just stopped talking about it because it was all about heroes and stuff like that. It was not about the Communist Party. So it's sort of funny to and so I don't know if that's true or not, but I sensed that there was because the adults and then and below basically had not the older people, but the younger people had no information at all about the actual story, but the older people did. So it was that was sort of funny. So I don't know if it was sort of stopped or not there. Hi Drexy, how you going? And Supercool's saying so long as Creative Assembly have the Warhammer license, they'll be fine. Yeah, I agree. I think that the Warhammer games are just going to keep on sort of rolling on. Supercool's saying they need to keep remaking Total War Warhammer, Total War Rome, and Total War Shogun. That's all they need. I didn't play I haven't played any Total War games for many years now because of the. I stopped chasing because I just hate that they had put pressure on me to actually cover their games, and it's sort of funny because I deal with so many other developers that they know that my role is to be as honest as I can be, because I know ultimately that even if I'm honest with people about what I think of a game, I may really dislike an aspect of a game that somebody else would actually really like, and they can still see what's going on, and they can. It's like when I look at the Steam reviews, I look at it and think, okay, does that apply to me? Yes or no? I get more out of the negative reviews than the positive reviews because I can disqualify myself from what they're complaining about or not, and I think that's the same. A lot of developers are. Embrace that because at least they sort of know, okay, this is, unless you're saying the game is absolute shit, which is again why I don't actually cover games that I just don't like. So I really only sort of do those ones in through there. Okay, so where are we up to? So based on saying, you're probably right, Subcol. I think Creative Assembly is going to just keep on going. They're big now. And so Supercool's saying, very impressed with the Gal Civ 4 videos. It's really starting to shape up that game. It really is. Look, and that was a sponsored lot of videos. So I'm sort of just, when I'm talking about that series, I'm not under any instruction not to complain about it, but I really like that one. In fact, it's sort of funny. Like of all of the space games, the user interface in that game is lively, and it reminds me of when I play Age of Wonders. I love playing Age of Wonders because I always feel energized when I play it, and I'm finding that with Gal Civ 4 now as well. I'm energized when I'm actually playing it. I'm actually having fun with the game because of the energy that the game actually just has around it, if that makes any sort of sense. So gameplay aside, I like that aspect, and that's the same with Age of Wonders, but then the gameplay itself is really, really coming along. There's still some little issues, but overall it's very, very impressive, and I'm thoroughly enjoying playing it. So that series was very easy to record, actually. It was, I think I had to I restarted a few times with some videos, but generally when I'm doing an actual series, I mean, I can show you my typical, I've still got a heap of old videos which I haven't cleared out, but this is where I record them. So if I just go into here, this is my these are my recordings. When I'm sort of happy with them, I then move up into these little process folders and then process them from there. But these are typically like this here, for example. This would be all. See how this is all the same video? That's all different starts of videos that I've done and then I haven't been happy with. That was Rule the Waves 3. Here we go. There was some early Gal Civs, but this was back in May. So I started a heap of them, and then I don't think I even put them up in the end because I just wasn't happy with what I was recording. That's typically what happens with me with my recordings. There's a Shadow Empire start, and then I did get a little bit further in before I think I abandoned that series as well. What else is there? But that happens so often. There's an Age of Wonders. What's that one there? It's Battle Sector. Yeah, so there's just like heaps and heaps, even like in the Master of Magic ones. So had 3 starts in through there, a few stutters. So I've moved all them back up. Dwarf Fortress is sort of I've got to clean all these things out, but it often takes a long time. Like that does sort of show that one through there. This one as well. This was Shadow Empire. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. It takes it like, and that can be you can spend a day doing this sort of stuff and then just not be happy with it and sort of just throw it away. But yeah, these are all the I've got to clear these out as well. These have all been processed and uploaded, so that's all of them. It does. It's not just, you don't just start recording and away you go. But I did find that with that grouping in there, you'll see that there is a couple of little stutters in the Gal Civ recordings, but not very many. And usually it is the start. Again, if I just go back in there again, so the Gal Civ recording started. Where was it? Actually, I may have already cleared them out. I did have a few stutters at the start of it. Yeah, there's Xenonauts, so, what's that, five restarts in through there. It's typically about what it takes, usually. I mean, Battle Sector, look, what have I got there? Seven restarts. And this Gal Civ, I did actually have a lot of restarts there. What's that, 5, 6, 7 starts in that particular one. I don't know why I was starting around so much. 20 minutes into that one. 10 minutes into that one before I screwed it up. I should put a little. I always swear at the end of it too when I realise I've screwed up. I should just put a whole video together of all of the the screw ups at the end of those sorts of things, because it's like an when I realise that I've actually screwed up something, it's like, damn it, here we go. So anyway, where did we get up to? Yep. So and John Monkey saying, didn't Romance of the Three Kingdoms come out on Sega and the first PlayStation? I'm not sure actually. I haven't really played the game other than the Total War game, and I did like the Total War game of the Three Kingdoms. Actually, that was good, and they did a good job of that. They did a good job of actually presenting the complexity of the story. Okay, so Tom DeFranco is saying, I always assumed they would do a Total War 40k. Seems like a no-brainer to me. Surprised they haven't done it so far. Yeah, it's sort of, I don't know. I guess in one sense, yes. I think it would be interesting to sort of see it. Yeah, I don't know. The fantasy I think really works well though, and I don't know. Like in the 40k. There's a lot more sort of chain guns and stuff like this, bolters, so there's more more ranged attacks, and I don't know if the Total War I think works really, really well when you've got like heavy melee. Okay, so Boobo was saying, I remember trying Romance of the Three Kingdoms on my Amiga 500 back in the day. There we go. Yeah, Dynasty Warriors on the Amiga 500 is his baseline. So we were saying to Tom, I think it's because Napoleon Total War didn't really quite work. It put them off doing Warhammer 40k. I would imagine that would probably be a good call actually. Gladius though turn-based more than takes its place. Yeah, I agree. Gladius is an exceptional game. And Tom is in saying, yeah, I like Gladius quite a bit, but feels more like a Civ game to me. I don't know. Like for me, Gladius sort of sits out on its own. For me, it doesn't feel like Civ to me. So Tom is saying, yeah, I haven't played Napoleonic. That was pretty bad, actually, the Total War Napoleon. Hi, Ben, how you going? So that they have 900 people, way too many for a games developer. Yeah. And WJ Greynold saying, did you see the Battle Brothers devs finally announced their new game? Actually, no, I didn't. Actually, I'll have to have a look at that. I noticed that Battle Brothers just updated today. So there was an update for Battle Brothers, but I didn't read it. I just saw it came up. So we'll have to have a look at that one. And Battleman saying, I can't imagine they'd have more than 20 or 30 on Total War Warhammer 3 right now. Yeah. And so Basline is saying, you guys heard of hyenas? I'm not sure what that is. So we're saying, unless you mean the actual the dog, what are they? What are they technically? They're technically canines, aren't they? Hyenas. They're sort of like a bit of a hybrid between a feline and a canine, aren't they? Hyenas. They're sort of, I don't know if they're their own species. Anyway, we'll continue on. So WJ is then sort of saying, looks like XCOM or Phoenix Point to me, but I trust them to do something cool. Oh, okay, so Hyenas is that sort of game, but yeah, no, I don't know about it. So Chris is saying, question, I have Age of Wonders 3, I don't have the fastest PC. Is it worth it to buy 4? What's different about it compared to 3? It is better balanced than 3. 4 is like out of the box. 3 with all the mods is great, and yeah, like it is better balanced. It's certainly more immersive, I think, out of the box as well. Like Age of Wonders 4, there's certainly differences. I mean, it's probably too complex to just rattle them off. You can't just sort of go through. There's differences in the combat. You do get more personalisation. It's funny because this is one of the big catch-22s with Age of Wonders 4, is that you've got so much personalisation at the front of the game that when you go and play it, it feels the same every time you play it. That's what I understand that people sort of feel about the game, and it's sort of funny because it's almost like you don't really feel like you're playing with a special group of units, and I don't know how they're going to fix that, to be honest. Like with if you're playing with the orcs against the humans, you don't feel there are differences there, but you don't feel them. And I almost wonder whether it's the size of the big icons. And I think if they were made smaller, you would be focusing, instead of focusing on the icons, you'd be focusing on the actual units, and then I think then it would feel more special. But I've been trying to sort of rack my brain as to what's going on with that one. Yeah, so Roger's saying with a smile there, blooper vids. Yeah, look, you can see how many I've got, and they all finish off with me swearing. or just looking at the screen and going, oh no, happens a lot. So you could be saying that Gladius has long pauses and animation breaks after movement and between turns when I got it on launch day. Do you know if that's been sped up at all, a patch maybe? I don't have that at all, and I don't remember it, to be honest. I mean, it's been out for a long time. Okay, so Kai is Creative Assembly's new project. Okay, yeah, and I haven't heard about it. So again, because I'm not involved in the Creative Assembly stuff at all. I don't get any of their messages anymore. I'm really on the outer, so I just don't see it. So Cecil's saying no, hyenas are not canines; they're related to cats. Really? Hang on. This is a now. If Battle Mode had said that, I'd definitely be fact checking that, and I think I still will fact check it. So let's see what we got. Hyenas. Hyenas, the animal. Is it a canine or a feline? If it's its own, it's okay. So the family is Hydenae grey. So it's an African mammal. So where does it fit in the grand scheme of things? Feliform. Okay, so feliform means suborder of the... Yeah, okay, there we go. Okay, so cat-like. There you go. You're right. You are right. So I'm glad that Battle Mode didn't say that, because otherwise that would be 2 weeks in a row that he'd be correct. Okay, so yeah, so you're just then saying that Battle Brothers developers are making a new game. Yeah, we'll have a look at that fairly soon, actually. Okay, so and Battle Mode is saying you missed my first message. Hyenas is some crap FPS that CA are making 5 years too late. Yeah, I've got no idea what that is. Let's not even look at it. We won't even bother with that one. This is enough. This is enough hyenas for today. Okay, so we've got Jerry saying that's what's pushing me towards Master of Magic. Yeah, see, that's something that with Master of Magic, whatever faction you're playing always feels special. Like it always feels special. But then you go into tactical combat, and the tactical combat is so much worse than Age of Wonders. So it's a real difference, and it sort of depends on where you get your immersion from with the game. And I think that's really what it comes down to is, what gives you the greatest immersion. So where are we going with it? So we've got so saying the problem I think with Age of Wonders a lot is that you do not make too many choices. You pick as many minor transformations as you can, and as many enchantments as you can afford to run. Yeah, that's true as well. Like you do try to sort of get them up, don't you? Jerry's saying Shadow Empire had a small update and simplifying logistics still in beta. Okay, so we might have a look at that because there has been some changes. We did actually cover it, I think, last week, the bigger changes that just came through. And Rot's saying, speaking of Battle Mode, saw you on Dominion's Discord for multiplayer. Will you be putting that game on YouTube at some point? So and Battle Mode's saying no, not for that one. It is hard doing a recording for a multiplayer game of Dominions. You've got to get everyone on board, basically, that you're going to be doing it. That then could change the diplomacy of what they're doing as well, because, so it's a hard one, actually. I know that, firsthand from recording those sort of series, it is actually fairly difficult. Even with when you're actually playing Dominions with people who are all recording it, it's still it's fun, but it's not the same as just playing a personal game. So it's sort of it's a tricky one, I think. It's been years since I've played a multiplayer game anyway. Anyway, I just skimmed past those. All right, so what have we got? We've got yes, Battle Mode saying people also like dogpiling YouTubers. I don't know, it's sort of funny. That's one of the things that I have. I think when you play games where you're either in the middle or where you're not an expert at them or not very good at them, but there are people around who are exceptionally good at them, then yeah, some people have a way about them where it's aggressive with their feedback. It's not helpful, and I know what Ben's saying there. It's actually And Dominions can sometimes be a little bit of that. So more than often than not, though, it's actually the feedback you're getting is very, very positive, and it's always good. I always I like reading feedback where people say, "Oh, if you had done this, you can expect this to happen." And so just more so that everyone's sharing the knowledge. But when all you're doing is getting like hammered down time after time after time, it is actually it does wear you down a little bit. I don't look at the comments as much as I should. I try to lately, but if you're feeling a bit flat, the last thing you want to be doing is reading through your YouTube comments. It can be fairly it just takes one bad comment and it can sort of upset you for a period of time. It's sort of weird. Actually, Ben saying Lucid Tactics has a game recorded that Drexy and I played in. I don't know if he'll put it up. Yeah, Lucid Tactics is one of those guys, incredibly good at Dominions. So Bleffers are saying, any news from a new Dominions game? I'll probably now hold off until the next one comes, and then I'll actually just do a single player of that one. Single player is so much easier to record for Dominions. Multiplayer really isn't. Multiplayer is much more exciting to play, but I know that when we were recording our series of Dominions a few years ago now, it ended up, there was little things like, if one player does diplomacy a different way than another player will, you do get conflict, like actual, people feeling sort of pissed off in real life about certain things, and it's hard to manage, like that aspect. It's sort of it's difficult, and when you're trying to record it, there's no hiding, and so people will see that as well. So it becomes, I don't know, it was that aspect. It's not like a little multiplayer game where you can rage quit and then that's the end of it, because you're playing for weeks or months basically with Dominions. Hi, Remarkable Rabbit Productions, how you going? And you were saying, I think Perrin has some good ones, multiplay videos, but he's doing war analytics vids now, and Terra Incognita. Okay, yep. So okay, so but I'm saying I'm finished with Lanka LP over the next week or so. Okay, yeah. Anyway. Let's get the hyenas out of here, and we've now done the World Cup. The AFL. I know that you guys aren't interested in that one, but the AFL is heading towards the finals week after this coming week. I don't know if you guys want me to sort of just cover it briefly in these sessions or not. You've probably got zero interest in it. Just let me know if that's something you do want me to just. I can mention it very, very briefly. I mean, there's been massive drama this week because a goal umpire didn't award a goal at the very, very end when the Adelaide team was they would have won their game and they would have rocketed up from there into here, into ninth spot, and you've got to get into the top 8 basically, and then they had so they've now got no chance of getting into the finals weeks. So there's a month of finals. So that was a major thing. It actually, that one decision changed. The Swans actually beat them. They would have been down out of here as well. So it was everyone down in here is vying for a spot inside the top 8. And so this is actually the exciting part of the season now, to try to get into the finals. So Rot's saying, I have to be honest, I don't know what AFL is. It's sort of like Australian football, which is it's a great game. It's an incredible game. I mean, I love it. I follow it every weekend. It's sort of funny, like when I grew up in South Australia, because it's played in all the southern states in Australia, and so I grew up in South Australia, and South Australia has got like a few teams. Now, like back in the day, each state had their own league, and so you had like your state league, and then sort of the states would then have one team that would play against the other states. Anyway, Port Adelaide was a team I used to barrack for when I was in South Australia, so they're coming third. Then when I was a teenager, we moved from South Australia to Melbourne, and I hadn't really seen my grandparents much. And when I met my grandmother, the first thing she said to me is, "Oh, welcome to Melbourne. You're barracking for Collingwood." So she went through the family history of how like there was like 5 generations of the family had always barracked for Collingwood and stuff like that. So Collingwood had become then my main team. So they're coming first at the moment. And then we moved up to Queensland. Brisbane is the only one that's actually broadcast on the local, like free-to-air TV. So I also like Brisbane. So I tend to follow particularly Collingwood and Brisbane, but also Port Adelaide is sort of my third. So I've got the top three teams. So I'm going to have a good year this year, I think. Whichever way it's going to go. But it's a great game. Anyway, I won't hover with that one. Let's just move on. But that's So the top four teams have a massive advantage over the bottom four, like the next four teams. But to get into the finals, you have to break into that number 8 spot. And so there's a lot of teams sort of trying to break in if they can to get into there. But it's going to be a good final season this year. It's going to be quite interesting to sort of see what does go on. So the points are sort of allocated. Like if they get a win, they get... I don't know why they do it this way, but if you get a win in the game, you get 4 points. If you get a draw, you get 2 points. I don't know why they just didn't do 2 and 1. They did 4 and 2. Anyway, I don't know why. That's just what they did. And then that's the percentage of how much they've kicked versus kicked against them type thing. So anyway, let's leave that one alone, and we'll get into... Well, actually, let's not get into the Watcher update yet. Let's go and grab another Steam powered area, and we'll look at Battle Brothers. I'm actually interested to see what their next game is going to be. Battle Brothers. Nope, it's not amongst the first ones. So I'm assuming that they're going to have some sort of announcement in here. Menace, is that it? Okay, so let's have a look at this one here. So, as some of you have already discovered, we've been working on a next game called Menace for a while now. We've been prototyping since the full release of Battle Brothers in 2017. So, here we go. So I'll just read a few more of the comments there before we go. So Bilbo saying, Brits grew up watching reruns of Paul Hogan wearing an Aussie Rules football shirt on his TV show. Yeah. Guy Ballaby saying Dad seems to be talking about Australian football. Did not England beat Australia in the World Cup last week? They did indeed, and they deserve to. I'll freely admit they fully deserved to win that game. William is saying, any plans for more Galciv 4 content? Reloaded 3 last week, just couldn't get back to it. Yeah, there's going to be, it's every 3 days. So that's the contract that I have. And there's a total of 10 videos. So it's going to be right into the middle of next month. They'll just keep on coming, but so I've already got them all scheduled, ready to go. So it's going to be once every 3 days. Baseline is saying in the 70s, a dude called Malcolm Blight fired a 65-meter torpedo kick. I think 65. They often kick 50, 55 fairly easily, but yeah, 65. They can kick longer than that. Malcolm Blight, he played for North Melbourne. He was also from South Australia as well. He was an incredible player, actually. But he was, he did actually. He was, a torpedo kick is where the ball spirals, and so it's, you know how when you get an American, I don't know if you've ever thrown an American football. American footballs are much, much smaller than Australian football. It's sort of funny, each of the codes have got like a different sort of football. So an American football is quite small. It's almost like you can get your hand around it really easily. An Australian rules football is a bit longer but a lot squatter. It's actually still the oval shape, but it doesn't have the sharp ends, but you can still get the spin on it. And so when they kick it, and people don't kick it because it's very, very inaccurate, but that's actually something that will actually then spiral and go further distance, but inaccurately. And so he did kick like a really, really long one. But there's a few of the people do it. No one really kicks those sort of kicks anymore. They're called torpedoes. The drop punt is the main kick that they play, where they actually drop it so that it spirals when they kick it. It spirals backwards, and that sort of keeps it fairly stable, and it allows them to then mark it or catch it. So yeah, there's all different sorts of kicks. So we used to sort of play it at school a lot, which is good. Okay, so Drexy is then saying it's called Menace. Yep, so we've got that one. And Michael's saying Battle Brothers equals perfect game for Daz Demption. I think we'd end up with too many people being banned all the time, but you're right, it probably is. This is published by Hooded Horse. Okay, that's interesting. Says Drexy. And Phobius is saying actually Menace looks amazing. Okay, we'll have a read of this. Why call it football when they mainly use their hands? I guess because when they do kick it, you can only get a goal by kicking it. So you have to kick it through the goalposts, and you you can't just hand, if it touches anyone's hands at all, it's just a 1 point, whereas it's 6 points if they actually kick it. So Drex is saying, is normal rugby a thing in Australia? Yeah, look, Australia is, we've got two rugby codes, and AFL and soccer. They're the four football codes that Australia plays. In the southern states, it's mainly AFL. In the northern states, it's mainly like rugby league, which is, I think, in terms of, I think Britain, France mainly plays rugby union. I think England plays union and league, pretty much the same, I think. I'm not sure. Maybe union's a bit bigger than league. League is better, like the biggest of the rugby codes here. A rugby ball is actually the same length as an Australian rules football, but a little bit more round again. So just slightly rounder. In fact, I've got one up on my bench up there. So just a beach version, like a softer version for kicking around on the beach. But that's the Australian rules footballs are a little bit somewhere between the gridiron ball and a rugby ball. So definitely in the northern states. I think Australia, God, it's like with who did was Johnny Wilkinson a rugby union? I think it was rugby union that he played. Yeah, Battlemate Sin saying that UK plays both. Yeah, I think France plays pretty much just union. I don't think they play league. I think that Japan mainly plays league and union a little bit after that one, because a lot of the Australian players go and then retire and go and play in Japan, where they can get a lot of money. So it's and then the New Zealand, all they play is essentially union. They play union. They do play a bit of league, but union. They're always on top of the world. South Africa is union as well, rather than league. I don't think South Africa plays rugby league at all. But Australia mainly plays rugby league, not so much rugby union. Rugby union was not a professional sport in Australia until fairly recently. But yeah, it's cool. As Drexy's saying here, it's posh rugby and poor rugby. Yeah, and never. Well, rugby union is the posh rugby, and rugby league is the working man's rugby. So that's where they actually are. It's funny. Bellman's saying, yeah, Drexy's exactly right. Rugby's a great game. Enjoyed it as a kid. Good excuse to physically attack people I didn't like. So, and Braceland's saying, Drexy, where are you? Drexy's also in England, I think. Okay, so anyway, let's continue on going through what this one actually is. Shall we watch the video? I guess we should, shouldn't we? Just turn that down a little bit. Oh, horse, actually, that was mentioned before. Hang on. Look at this little throwback to the Battle Brothers. I love it. There we go. I love it when they do that sort of stuff. Looks turn-based. This looks like the in-game stuff. Alright, so looking at the video, this is not in-game. So it starts after that with the actual in-game footage. It's funny, like it's nice to have this sort of stuff, but really the only thing that's important is what happens with the in-game sort of footage. What can we glean from this? We don't see any user interface. It looks like it's turn-based. The fact that they're standing out in the open like this and then they're not reacting at all, so it looks like it's a turn-based game. We'll find out in a minute, I guess. Yeah, so they're taking damage. I don't know if these resources are part of what you then end up doing. It looks a bit haphazard. Yeah, so that's a unit that blew up. If that's what you end up building, I don't know if I like that, to be honest. That doesn't look all that engaging. It looks like a lot of work to sort of get up there, unless it's just part of a map. Maybe a bit like Battle Sector. We're not seeing any building or anything like that as such. Yeah, actually the rubbish piles, that does look like it's more of like a Battle Sector or Sanctus Reach sort of style approach to the actual game itself. It looks like it's tile-based rather than hex-based, just looking at what we're looking at through here. Is it? Can we tell that from this? Yeah, straight line that way, straight line that way. It doesn't have to mean that one, but if we look at if we line them up, you're looking at grid. Yeah, so it's just a tile. Yeah, I prefer my hexes as a default, but anyway, so we've got tiles running through there. I'm guessing anyway. That's just purely a guess. Hang on, that angle looked a bit different. Oh no, that's right angles, isn't it? That is right angles. So yeah, we're looking at tiles. I mean, some games are better at tiles than hexes, but not many. Anyway, that's what we can glean from that one. Let's just keep on going through. So, like Battle Brothers, Menace is a turn-based tactical RPG with the same type of deep mechanics and replayability you've come to love. Unlike Battle Brothers, Menace has a sci-fi setting and plays out on a larger scale. You'll lead a strike force. Actually, well, when you look at Battle Brothers is tile-based, and that does work. That works pretty well. You'll lead a strike force of Marines sent to the far frontier, answering distress calls across different worlds and taking on threats, both human and alien. You'll be in command not just of individual soldiers, but entire squads. Answering distress calls. God, I hope it's procedural, as well as tanks and even mechs. Battle Brothers spent 2 years in early access, and all the feedback and bug reports we've received from you guys during that time was immensely helpful in building the game that it is today. That's why for Menace we're also aiming for an early access release in late 2024. No worries, we'll of course continue to update Battle Brothers in order to take care of any issues as they come up, and may even add minor content from time to time. But as a new player banner we added just a couple of weeks ago. Thanks for everyone, yeah, blah blah blah. That's it. Okay, so there's not much information. Is there a page for it yet? I don't think there would be. Let's have a quick look and see. Is there a page? Menace. Oh yeah, there is a page. Right, so lead a strike force against an alien threat in this turn-based tactical RPG from the developers of Battle Brothers. It's coming in 2024. Enter distress calls across different worlds, train and equip. That sounds interesting if it's procedural. Field tanks and mechs, plan out missions and execute them. Okay, that sounds very, very cool. This sounds really rogue. It's like a BattleTech, actually, doesn't it? It sounds like a BattleTech approach, but instead of with mechs, you're really just going in with little soldiers. So, God, that would be cool, actually, if that's the case. If they can do, and it looks like the actual maps themselves. When we look at this stuff, these things are here as these are choke points. These are to create choke points. That's all that these are. So they're not building these. These are the missions. And it is the squares. Rather, the tiles do bother me with games that have a lot of ranged attacks. I do think hexes do work better. It looks quite clunky. The way it sort of has been laid out like this with the tiles. But, I mean, Battle Brothers was tiles, but then Battle Brothers was predominantly melee. I think it works for Battle Brothers, but I don't know. We'll find out, I guess, at some point. It's just graphics. Nothing exceptional with these. Yeah, you can definitely see the tile base in through here. Look at that. Look at the grids. Hang on, let's just bring these up. So yeah, this is all just so I'm assuming that some units can come across the rubbish heaps and sort of take them out that way. It'll be interesting to sort of see, and it looks like so they're going to be fairly small battlefields, so the actual missions themselves won't be very long. But yeah, this looks like random. Looks like some sort of randomly generated. I hope, anyway. Then I'm not sure if that's against our team, if that's our team back out through there. And then they're coming in off the sand dunes and through this other side. Again, don't know if the ridges play any role. I'm assuming not. I would assume that it would be these areas in through here. But again, we're not seeing any user interface at this stage. So they've got prone as well. That's is that in game? Yeah, it must be. Yeah, looking at the edges on that one there. So this is an in-game graphics. That looks good. And then it's the last one in through there as well. Okay, so you've also got looks like there may be climate and also day-night effects as well. Looks good. All right, what else do we know about it? So about the game: Commander, Strike Force, Marines, Mercenaries, and Criminals in a distant system. Hang on, what have we got? Just pause that. Cut off from the core worlds. At the Lawless Frontier, the Wayback system is controlled by pirate warlords, questionable corporations, and fractured planetary governments who struggle for a new order. Although you may initially lead your strike force of Marines from aboard the strike cruiser TCRN Impetus, you'll quickly need to unite the disparate locals under your leadership to defeat an unknown threat. The fact that they're naming the strike cruiser worries me. That sounds like it's actually a campaign that you're playing and not actually not procedurally generated content. Fielding tanks, mechs, and infantry squads with a massive selection of equipment to choose from. You'll train your troops, plan out your operations, engage in deadly tactical battles. Okay, the developers of Battle Brothers take us to the far future in Menace, a turn-based tactical RPG. Okay, yeah, RPG. All right, so roleplay basically means story-driven. Set in an isolated system where a strange new threat has come to emerge. Your Republic Marine Corps core strike force has made its way over to bring the frontier back into the fold. But that was supposed to be a simple pacification mission, revealed a threat that puts the entire system at risk. So your approach is entirely yours to determine. As Driscoll rolls in, calling you from planet to planet. You can decide which to respond to, what resources to employ, and when to engage based on your readiness levels. Your choices will determine how the local faction feels about your presence, with a direct impact on your relations with them and what favours they will be willing to do for you. That sounds good. Will you prioritise relations over the arms dealers for access to better equipment on the battlefield, or will you set their needs aside, focusing on their ship rights instead of to gain access to ship upgrades that can support your ground troops from orbit? All right, that sounds interesting. With all communications cut off, you're at the top of the chain of command, and your team of Marines, mercenaries, and criminals turn to you for answers. Any single operation is not limited to one battlefield. Instead of taking you on branching paths of multiple missions each, don't like that unless it's procedural. Asking you to engage in a series of battles across entire worlds. Make strategic decisions as you progress through an operation, choosing between the missions available to you. Will you first take out the enemy air defences that keep you from landing tanks? Or will you press directly into the enemy to rescue a group of hostages and gain the trust of locals? Proceed mission by mission to complete the operation and ultimately further your grand campaign. But beware, every decision has serious consequences, not just for the operation at hand, but for the entire system itself. Strike Cruiser TCRN Impetus acts as your Impetus acts as your base of operations, not only ferrying you between missions, but providing both orbital support and a place for much needed R&R. Invest in upgrading, customizing. So that's very much like a BattleTech sort of style. Without access to your standard issue naval arsenal, you'll have to rely on local black market dealers and the spoils of war to equip your squads from the jerry rig. That sounds good. High-stakes tactical battles. The threat of death is real as you find yourself pitted against numerically and at times technologically superior enemy forces. Large engagements across diverse battlefields. Yeah, battle in Menace of deadly affairs. Hail of bullets. Yeah, blah blah blah. Flanking maneuvers. Yeah, okay, so that's going to be good. So it is tactical. Keep an eye on your weapons, their damage over distance. Yep. So so that's just going to have like a range effect. I'm thinking my head is going immediately into a battle sector, into that sort of style of combat. Although battle sector doesn't have facings or coming in from flanks or anything like that too much anyway. Arrive on the battlefield with a variety of vehicles and mechs alike, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. So you will actually choose how you come into the fight. You might lose an entire squad, but the extra firepower might be just what secures your victory. Use limited supplies. Okay, so yeah, it sounds story-driven. Yeah, character-driven experience. This is not my style of game. So Pike is the model Marine, loyal to the Republic, professional soldier, unwavering in the face of adversity. Rua, yeah, okay, this is all just going to be literally role play. Just say, okay, here we go. All right, so this is cool. Okay, well, here we go. They've redeemed themselves with this. With procedurally generated multi-mission operations and battle maps alongside a big selection of characters and countless equipment options, every run of Menace plays differently from the last. Right, we've swung it around. We've actually now got exactly what we want. Find yourself face-to-face with a seemingly insurmountable challenge that takes on multiple forms across playthroughs and puts your strategic and tactical prowess to the test in a new way each time. That should be right at the top. That should be right up here. Like it should be that and then that in there and then take command and all the other stuff. Because that then makes everything else so much more interesting. That's like when you actually read that you've actually got that all the actual missions are the operations, the multi-mission operations are procedural as well as the actual battles. The battles looked procedural, like they looked like that was like just a tile system with some basic placements. Really, these don't look very intricate at all. So these looked random. These didn't look like they were actually built as such. So Vex is saying sounds like BattleTech by Harebrained Studios. It does to a degree. Although BattleTech was, I'll go back up. I've missed a fair few of the comments there, but BattleTech did actually, the base game itself had it had some procedural generation, but a lot of it was set missions and story missions and things like that, which I didn't enjoy. But then there was a mod called Rogue Tech that sort of then changed it into like a roguelike version of the game, and that was brilliant because that did change things. So you stopped doing all the story missions. I think you could still do them, but you basically could go anywhere. That was such a good mod. I've got to look and see if that's still actually being developed. I think we looked at it a few weeks ago, but I can't remember if it was still in active development. But it was good. Anyway, let's go back up the top. I am a little bit concerned about the tile base with this. It looks clunky for a game like this. Now, I will say that Battle Sector really pleasantly surprised me now. Like I didn't like Battle Sector when it first came out. With the way that it was had been structured with the tiles. But that's a brilliant game now. And this game, I don't know. Like it feels heavy when you've got tiles like this. It feels like you're not really protecting your units properly, or there's no real nuance to it. So it feels very, very heavy with the actual units themselves. I mean, we'll find out when we get to play it, I guess. But it's you look at them there. They're not taking cover. It's just funny that we've got that one image of the unit that was actually prone. God, I'd love to see the user interface. I wish that they had some shots of that. Anyway, I guess we'll find out. Actually, so Raider's saying, Battle Brothers was hex-based. Was it? I'm just trying to think. I can't remember now. I haven't played it for such a long time. But this doesn't look hex-based at all, does it? This is definitely tile-based. Yeah, strange decision for that. it does mean that the units get heavy. Like and Warhammer style of things works with that because Warhammer units there's no nuance to it. Whereas Hex, I do think you do get a bit more nuance from it. Anyway, let's go back up to where I stopped getting them. Actually, I'm not that far behind, I don't think. So Rogue is saying, in my opinion, Battle Brothers is one of the best games ever made. I just don't like that when you lose a battle, that's the end of your game. I wish that there was... I know that they tried to fix it a little bit, but it's still... I haven't played it a lot in recent years, but yeah. So Cecil saying square, not tile. Hexes are also tiles. Yeah, so, okay, I always think of tiles as squares. As in, square tiles in your kitchen or whatever, or in your bathroom. I think inside buildings tiles are better. Outside in the open hexes are better. Yeah, I agree with that. I do agree with that. And I guess like Xenonauts is an example of that, where that's tile based essentially. But like saying, for me, it depends on if the game is if there's gameplay between the missions or not for this type of game. No overhype has nothing, says Oliver. So Cecil saying, in Euclidean space there are 3 ways to tile a surface with a uniform tile. So triangles, squares, and hexagons. Well, hexagons are just glorified triangles. They're just six triangles together. So Oliver's saying there is actually another pattern where you combine a square. How does it go? Is it a square, a triangle, and a pentagon? I can't remember if that's the... You can actually create an intricate tile with that as well. And so Rob was saying, I think Battle Brothers is hex-based, or I'm completely misremembering. Yeah, it's been a while since I've played it, so I can't remember. So Gary Oak is saying, the question with squares is, can you move diagonal? Now, that's actually that's where it sort of comes into it. Now, the interesting thing with... I'm trying to think if there's a game that actually uses the base movement is 2. But when you move diagonally, you move 3. It might be... I think it might be Xenonauts that actually does that. So that's how they get around the tile, the movement aspect. Whereas a lot of games, it's just one movement, but you can also move diagonally as well. So you can move the same distance diagonally as you can laterally. Whereas I'm pretty sure it's Xenonauts. Yeah, it is Xenonauts. I'm just thinking now in my head. When you move from one tile, an open tile, to another open tile laterally, or was it the orthogonally? So when you move orthogonally to a tile, it's 2 movement points, and when you move diagonally, it's 3 movement points, which gets around that sort of square root of 2 aspect. What, the 1.4? So it's 1.5 basically versus 1 type thing. Anyway, it works. So okay, so and Rogue was saying, Battle Brothers was hex based, and so Fearing Games is saying there's a lot of turn based squad games. We need more games like Aliens: The Dark Descent, but more sandbox. I don't know that one actually. Drex is saying it's only you that cares so much. Well, someone's got to raise the flag, and that's. I really do like procedural content. I respect developers that use it, and that's why I've got such a. And I don't record the game. Haven't recorded it in such a long time, and I really got to. But I've got such respect for what they did with Panzer Corps 2, to go from a scripted map system into a random map system. Was massive for that game, and it was hard for them to do it, So they innovated in a lot of other ways as well. So I really always like to plug Panzer Corps 2 just because they took that hard option, and I wonder if in hindsight they would have still gone that way. But now that they've done it, of course, they've got it all. It's all sort of working, and that's amazing what they've done with that. I mean, the old Panzer Corps beforehand, Panzer Corps 1 was the maps you would actually end up having, like when you were designing them or building a map for that, you'd end up with hidden units that would only trigger when there was you could paint on the map when a unit hits this line. You're allowed to then release that particular unit. Its job is to move to the closest unit and try to kill it. That was basically all it would actually then go and do. And so they had to figure out a way of controlling the whole map. It was really a massive job. So I do. That's why I think that's one of the reasons I really do appreciate procedural generation, and then developers who do a good job of actually getting the units to fight in a procedurally generated map. And that's where things like Battle Sector doesn't do that. Battle Sector has preset maps essentially. They do actually now have more random map style of thing in their they've got like a procedural campaign that you can play, which is heading in the right direction, but it's still not nuanced. And this feels like or looks like it's going to be very similar to Battle Sector. I think that's going to have the same issues that Battle Sector will have as well, like in that sort of regard with it just feeling clunky in terms of heavy. The units will feel heavy, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, I'm just speculating at this stage. That's what we do. That's what our job is. Okay, so different people have different priorities. Says Sithel. Yep. So, but for me, I know it's the hard option for a developer to actually to not have scripted maps. It's so much more difficult for them to actually have random maps, and that's why I love Shadow Empire so much, because that's done so well in a procedural planet. It's and then you've still got really engaging AI. Makes it very, very interesting for me. Okay, so Rogue is saying that's awesome. It will be procedure generated. I wish Xenonauts and XCOM was. Well, Xenonauts sort of half is, I think, to a degree. Like they've got different. I think the way Xenonauts do is that they've got like large areas. Let's call the areas tiles. And then they randomize around that. I think it's sort of how they work. A few games do that. So at least you've got like interesting areas, and then so instead of the whole thing being procedural, they mix that up a little bit. Xenonauts saying to Drexy that most people enjoy story campaigns. Is there if there's also procedural stuff that's great? Yeah, look, I don't know. Do most people enjoy story? I don't like them. I know that, like, again with Age, I think back to Age of Wonders, which we haven't even covered yet. But Age of Wonders is also the same sort of deal. I don't play the campaigns, but people do say that they're really quite good. They've been saying that for a long period of time, actually, for many iterations of the game. Okay, so Sorbical saying it's an interesting looking game mechanic, Menace, but there's not enough info in that reveal trailer. There's not, or in here. There's no user interface. We're not really getting a feel for what the units can do, and I think that will be the important thing. I love the idea though of having a mercenary squad where the resources are very limited, where the missions that you do are procedural, and you've then got to somehow cobble together. Like it sounds like you're going to be like randomly pushed into different directions, which sounds really, really interesting. Super was saying, yeah, if Battle Brothers wasn't for you, then try War Tales. I have actually tried to contact the developer a few times, but I just haven't actually got haven't received any information back, I don't think, from memory. I'll have to have a look into that one. Sizzle's saying it's still planned to be released in 2024, so the interface is likely not fully done. I don't know. Like usually, the interface itself, even a working interface, will still be there. There will be feedback. I think that what they've done is that they've thought the screenshots. Like for example, if I'm making a thumbnail for a video, I don't want to be including user interface in that because it doesn't look good in the thumbnail. I think that may be the approach they've gone with this as well. How do we get the best imagery without actually, getting clutter? And the interface, they may consider the interface to be clutter, but for me, the interface tells me what sort of game it's going to be and what we can expect. So they would have had, because the interface, just basic interface, would have still given us, at least we would have known what we can do with the actual units. Based on the sense saying Conquest Elysium uses square tiles and does it well. As long as it's done well, it can be done. But would Conquest of Elysium be better with hexes? And I would argue yes, it would. I think that Conquest of Elysium would be a better game if hexes were employed than square tiles. Then tiles. Let's just call them tiles if they're squares. I'm going to override that one. Cicely, you can says you can make do with tiles, but you have to make some congestions, concessions. I don't know if that's what you meant. I did not define what I meant by uniform. Technically, I mean regular polygon. You could do the same with rhombus, and yeah, I'm with you. So Bilbo saying I'm not that bothered about what tiles as long as I don't have to do any grouting. This is saying rhombus is actually pretty common as a way to tiling games, but they've pretended to be a perspective view of a square. That's true. Yeah, that's true. We have the isometrics. The typical isometric perspective game, there we are. Moving diagonally, you can be very effective in ASCII 2 roguelikes. No adjustment for square root of 2, exactly. And that's why I think Xenonauts did a good job with having 2 movement with 3 diagonally. It sort of then does take into account the square root of 2. Ben's sort of saying, I love well-crafted handmade maps, but you only enjoy them a few times. Exactly. Whereas procedural generation means endless replayability, which is what I prefer. But having said that, when we end up with clunky maps, then really a handcrafted map is much, much more engaging. I think to be able to find I'm trying to think of what's a good, I mean, like even when you play Age of Wonders, the strategic map is procedural, but the battle maps aren't. The battle maps are always the same maps, so they're not even using procedural generation there, which I wish that they would to a degree. But they recognise that it's difficult to get like a meaningful battle with a completely random map. It's not balanced. Whereas this to me looks very haphazard and very clunky. So I hope that gets a bit more work, a bit more nuance. Again, I'm thinking of a Sanctus Reach style of map layouts. Battle Sector actually does have built maps, but even they're clunky as well. Even the built ones, just because it's all this square tile based stuff. So Sizzle's saying I'm more for procedural generation or massively handcrafted world, but the last one is rare. Sizzle's saying yeah, but basic interface can create an issue to show off. They absolutely have a basic interface. Yeah, like it's in actually then Gyrox is in saying I miss a good hex base. I miss a good hex game with a good map with elevation. Yeah, yep. So Genos is then saying there's so many games. I really play a big playthrough on a handcrafted game enough to get sick of them. To each their own. I'm the same, but I just like the idea that there's actually it's random. It's not funny. You're exactly right. If I play the game, I would never go back to them anyway. Like a lot of even the ones that are procedural, I just appreciate, like, see, there's a little game that I got that was, I haven't played it for a little while, but like that was really cool. This Crawl Tactics game here, this one here, the battle maps are all random, but it's a very much a puzzle driven experience with characters that you then bring in. It's a really, really cool game, that one, like surprisingly good. I won't open it up, but that's actually I don't know how that's doing it. No one knows about that game. This is something I think we'll just go and have a look at that one up there for Crawl Tactics. This is it says only mostly positive, but no one's playing it. 80% basically. But these maps are all procedural that we're seeing through here, and yet they're puzzlers. It's a puzzle game, and it's like that's so unusual to actually have a game that is heavily puzzle driven, yet still procedural. It's incredibly well done. It definitely deserves to be more than that, and definitely deserves more players than what's actually happening with this game. Like, there's sort of like different ways of playing. It looks like it's actually that the map would have to be crafted, but it's actually not. And this sort of gives you an indication of just how well an intricate game, or it's not overly intricate itself, but it really is amazingly well done. Let's just zoom it up, just so you can sort of see the glory of what's going on. So depending on what you target, like this, it does have like aspects. It's got traps you can trigger, all sorts of different things. You've got like different sorts of units. Like up through here, that whatever that is there, will actually you can use that to explode things. That's just a unit. But again, it's just it's really, really well done, this game. Very simple in what it does, but yeah, that was a very, very good game. I really enjoyed this one. Highly, highly recommend it. Had a lot of intricacy. With the inventories, finding loot, the whole lot. It was the thing I didn't like about it is it had like a FTL type experience where you had to then sort of rush from, as you were sort of moving through this base map in through here. I don't know if it's been changed. I haven't played this for such a long time, but it used to be that there was like a creeping threat that came in behind you, and you had to always keep ahead, and you had to then choose. Again, this was always random as well. You had to choose your path through, and you would then have exposure as to which one is going to then give you the best result. And so you could then sort of choose, okay, well, which one do I want to? Do I want to fight, or do I want to go and get like a random item, or what is it that I want to actually then go and do at each point? You want your units to level up, so you want them fighting, but you also want to be picking up the loot. It's so this is like, again, random, like depending on the terrain that it was coming in, different random sort of tiles. Again, this one is a square tile game, or a rhombus sort of isometric sort of style, but it works very, very well. A really, really good game, this one, with what does sort of come back in, being able to sort of rotate around. Very, very clean game. Yeah, definitely deserves more attention. That's Crawl Tactics. If you're looking for a it's like Into the Breach. Yeah, it is very much so. In fact, funny, after playing this, I then went back to start playing a bit of Into the Breach. Into the Breach has also had some big improvements over in recent months. That's an exceptionally good game as well. That's also got like a random layout. So they are very, very similar games. But Into the Breach is popular, whereas this one is not. The Breach. Yeah, the Advanced Edition. This is the look at this one here. Look at the number of people playing this one. 94%, 97%. This was a very similar sort of style, as you can sort of see through here as well. But to be honest, they're both exceptional games. Like, they're both exceptional. I mean, if you like Into the Breach, you'll love the other one. Into the Breach was a great game as well. Anyway, that's that one there. I'll just pause that one. So where have we got up to? Okay, so Viren Games is saying, Daz, you should take a look at Aliens Dark Descent since you haven't played it. It's a nice game, and you control a squad of colonial marines. Aliens Dark Descent. Okay, came out in June. I wonder why I didn't hear about this one. Yeah, squad-based single-player action game. Yeah, that would be pretty cool, actually. I'll have to remember that one. I might just jot that one down. Anyway, we'll continue on. We still haven't got to Age of Wonders yet. Okay, so and Rogerson saying, I would say it's too early to tell, but technically has been in development since 2017. It says that I have faith in them though. So yeah, we're talking about Menace, I think. Michael Duster saying, wasn't there a shooter game on the Amiga once called Menace? I've got no idea. Jenna saying, see, it's a psychological preference, like owning a performance car. Yeah, as a normal driver. It means you've missed a lot of great gameplay over the years. You only play once anyway. Yeah, it's sort of funny. Like we've got some people that I catch up with at the beach, and they're from an island called Lord Howe Island, and it's just a small little island. Like, you drive cars around, but their speed limit is 25 kilometres an hour. So if you're thinking, if you've got a performance car on Lord Howe Island, it just wouldn't make any sort of sense whatsoever. So it's just extremely slow. It's like a fast running pace. Dusty Monk saying, I know FTL was popular, but I hated being chased up a tree. Being chased up a tree gameplay. I hate it. I dislike that intensely. I like to be able to just play it my own way. I guess, if that was off by an option. So I didn't play FTL because of that reason, actually. So is Aliens Dark Descent procedurally generated? It's very positive. 88%, 87%. Yeah, so it's consistent. Okay, infiltrate large open air at levels. Customize your squad. Lead strategically. It doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it. Okay, no, it doesn't look like it is. If we just go and have a look at the, where is it? Community Hub. Was anyone ask that question for us? Yeah, finish the game. Okay, no, it looks like it's if you're finishing games. It's really hard to tell. Okay, yeah, people aren't really overly with the comments. They're quite nasty about it, or they're negative about the game. Yeah, nice game, but back button disappears. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it looks like it's all just story driven. So yeah, I probably won't be all that interested in that one. I'll just cross that one off. Sorry. Looks like a story driven game. So Bob is saying, bum, I didn't get a notification for this video. Well, we've covered women's soccer. We've covered AFL, Menace, which is a new game coming from the Battle Brothers studio. What else did we look at? Looked at a few other things as well, but you haven't missed much. Now is yeah, it's not procedurally generated since August. Yeah, that's for me. That's a no-go then in that case. If it's just story driven, so we won't worry about that one. Let's go and do the Age of Wonders 4 stuff. That's really what we're here for. And it's actually Eddie Ball Games saying thank you for your recent Master of Magic update. The coming DLC looks good. It's very, very much good fun to play, actually. I've really thoroughly enjoyed it. It's funny because I played I had been playing on Twitch. I've been actually playing it a lot. I'd like to sort of play through an actual game, and it was good fun. But I wasn't getting any heroes, and I thought it was actually a rebalance of the hero system. But then I played it. Then went in and started another game where I ended up getting the summon hero spell right from the start. And so I summoned a hero in as soon as I could to try to give that one a bit of a boost. And then two turns later, I was offered a hero. So I'm thinking, it may have just been really bad luck. Anyway, it's just sort of so I've almost wished that the heroes were much harder to actually pick up. I know that they've done rebalancing recently. Yep. So and Sizzle's saying you missed that the hyenas are cat-like and not dog-like. So anyway, we've got that one through there. So Dusty Monk saying Aliens Dark Descent is a fantastic game. Okay, it's not for me, not procedural. I've got too many other games I've got to try to cover. Michael saying any chance you would take a small peek at the Hero Class mod for Age of Wonders 4? Yeah, that is actually let's do that as well. So we'll start with that now. Actually, I'll just go back into here. Age of Wonders 4. Oh, sorry, that's store page. Wrong search. This is interesting. Like it's gone from 80% to 70% basically. So it's dropped. That's a fair drop. I mean, there's other games that have also dropped a bit recently as well. But that does mean that people are getting sick of it. And I think that does come down to the lack of immersion when you're actually in battles because you're not actually getting the feel of the unit correctly. I think if you played without the icons, it would then feel good, but you have to have the icons to really get a feel for what to do. So again, they're showing the game without the icons. That should be a bit of a clue as to what they need to do to make it more immersive, actually, if they're doing it themselves. Anyway, we'll come back to that one. Let's just go back into the community hub. And workshop. And the hero class mod, is it going to come up? There we go, it was back there. So, archetype. I haven't played with this one, so this hero class mod introduces a new way to customize your hero skills by specializing them into traditional RPG style classes. So version 1 of the mod features 8 unique classes and over 200 new hero skills to choose from. I plan to add 8 more classes across the next 2 updates with another 200 or so new skills. Starting from level 1, you can select what your hero's archetype will be, so fighter, priest, mage, or scout. So that sounds like it's going to feel much more like Dungeons and Dragons. So as you continue to gain experience and levels, your hero will eventually be able to choose their class. So version 1 of the mod features 8 unique classes, 2 from each archetype. So fighter can then become a berserker or a guardian, your mage, necromancer, or a wizard, a priest, a templar, or a warden. This sounds really good. Each archetype features 40 new skills, and each class features 80 new skills. There's a link to the Google Doc. Okay, that's cool. As this mod includes over 200 different skills and some new ability mechanics that are not present in the base game, there's a good chance I missed some stuff. Okay, that's actually really, really quite good. Very active at the moment. Yeah, that looks really good actually, doesn't it? There's your priest. Okay, then you really do specialize. They would actually be very good. Fighter, mage, priest. Yes, so that's the archetype. I'm going to have to get this one actually. This looks very, very good. Yeah, this is looking really interesting. There's your class upgrade, either ranger or assassin. Yeah, actually that looks awesomely good. And Voodoo Dog saying big part for me is the lack of meaningful buildings. They all just give some numbers plus somewhere. No new units, no nothing. Yeah, that's true as well. Actually, that's true. So Michael's saying I tested the mod in 2 games and it really brings up a lot of new skills. Even the AI behaviour differently with their heroes on the battlefield. And Vidodoc's saying it's actually annoying to think that about what to build next. And Sizzle's saying I'm not a big fan of classes, but the game needs you to take more of the choices, like A or B, not just A and B. Yeah, you can sort of switch around. I mean, you can always just go back and you can still reset the skills here, which is fine. So if you want to go a particular way to balance things out, you can do it. It does look very, very good though, doesn't it? That does look very good. And actually, Voodoo Dog, I haven't finished looking into why that didn't come up yesterday with the tip jar type thing, but there was a very large tip that came through. So if that was you, then thank you very much for that. That was very, very, very much appreciated. But I'm sorry that it wasn't running. I think it's a user error issue from my side of things. I may have had the elements turned off in my recordings, but I've started to have a bit of a look yesterday, but I didn't really get far into it. Sort of ran out of time in the end. So anyway, let's get into the other aspects. Go into Age of Wonders 4 on Steam. So we've got the Watcher update, which is in here now. So we've got the so we'll just go through. Yeah, so Voodoo Dog saying, yeah, that was me. Very, very much love, all good. Yeah, no, I'm sorry it didn't show up because it's that sort of acknowledgement is important. So I'll acknowledge it here. That was very, very generous of you to do that, and I do appreciate it. And my apologies it didn't come up at the time. As I say, I'll finish looking into that today and just try to get a bit of a feel for what I haven't turned on. There's a lot of different settings to get those things to sort of show up. I know that I had set up all the animation and stuff for it. I had like a little, I forget what it was, I had come in at for that one. I remember setting it all up, but but yeah, it'll be user error from my side, and my apologies for that. Okay, so Bob Rippert saying, does the new Age of Wonders have a hero screen listing the victories you achieve? Yeah, sort of, it does. In fact, I'm so close to finishing off one at the moment. With the tomorrow, I should be able to finish off the Age of Wonders game that I'm currently playing. I'm literally one battle away from victory now. So Dom UK is saying, hey Daz in chat, so hi back. And Ridiculous is saying, hey Daz, have you tried Archmage Rises? No, I haven't. Let's try that one. To make the store page. That looks good, that Heroes one. Okay, experience of freedom found in a tabletop RPG. Experience with empowered with magic. You create your own story and experience real consequences from the decisions you make. No, I haven't seen this one. It says only mostly positive, only 70%. Then yeah, so it's still consistently 70%. So you build your own tower. So if you let's just bring it up a little bit. But no, I haven't even heard about this one. Hang on, that was interesting. Those sort of combats don't interest me much, to be honest. This sort of card-based combat, tactical turn-based combat. But it's turn-based, but it's not tactical as such. It's not like you're actually moving things around. Looks like you've just got cards when we look at the bottom down there. Like you've got spells or whatever else you're going to be doing. You've got your actions. I wouldn't call it tactical. Okay, this here is... Alright, so these simulate a response to every choice over time. That does look interesting. I'm always wonder whether it's like Wildermyth, you know, in the way it can sort of do things. Time is precious. Be another life. So there we go. You're dead. There we are. So anyway, that's yeah, it looks interesting. But yeah, that sort of combat, I'm not a fan of it. To be honest. Anyway, we'll leave that one there. Now another question we have is, has the Distant Worlds 2 Discovery Update in Quamino and Gizarine DLC already been on ChatTactic? We did that. Did we do that last week? I think we did it last week, I think, from memory. I hope I did, because it's looking great. I've actually, tomorrow at this time I'll be streaming on the Slytherin Twitch channel to sort of show off the Discovery Update. I've asked if I'm allowed to show the Cormino and Gizarine, but I'm not sure if I'm allowed to show that. If I don't hear back today, I'm going to have to just play without them actually in the actual game itself. I'm saying not Daz Tactic approved tactical contact. Yes. Yeah, Casno is saying Distant Worlds 2 was last week. Yeah, we went through that. The reason I'm wondering about that is because the Eric's video wasn't on YouTube. He did a presentation like Eric Ruten's. I'm pretty sure we went through it, but we couldn't go through much with what his video was. Yeah, 2 weeks for the DLC is coming out, but I usually get to show it like a week or two in advance. So it's still a little way off. So patches tomorrow, DLC next week, isn't it? Yeah, says Castner. So yeah, but often they let me then show what content is coming as well. So anyway, that will be tomorrow. I'll be sort of covering that on the Slytherin channel. And then I will talk about that again in the next week again after it does come out. So you start saying the sequel to Six Ages, Ride Like the Wind, came out recently. Not something that Daz Tactic will like, but others might, says Istar. But anyway, we'll leave that one there because we are running out of time. So we'll go back into... now, I've been playing this all week, the Watcher update. And people keep on asking, what is the AI better? And I actually really can't put my finger on if it is or not. I'm playing on just normal mode, and it's still been relatively difficult. But I normally play on hard mode, so it's hard for me to gauge. I think it is better, but it's not dramatic like it was when the Planetfall big updates came out. So after a long and hopefully worthwhile wait, we've finally ready to present you the Watcher update. So with this patch, we've introduced numerous quality of life changes based on community feedback. Some of the main features include a reworked Magic Victory system. I haven't come across that yet. New and improved Underground. I can see it, but not dramatically. Crossplay between platforms, no idea. Research scaling with unlocking tomes. We'll have a look at the details of this. Again, I can see it, but it's not really impacting too much. Various balance changes and bug fixes and more. So it's sort of a lot of, I think, of it is hidden. Some AI changes are also implemented during this update. While we don't consider them final, as there is always room for improvement, we hope that you will already experience some improvements today. Please continue to send in bug reports, blah, blah, blah. Once again, I would like to extend a huge thanks to all the players. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. After Watcher, the next major update is a Golem update in Q4. Like the previous Wyvern patch and the Dragon Dawn combo, this will include a free update released close to the long-awaited Empires and Ashes expansion, where Steel will meet the magical world of Age of Wonders. So they're looking forward to that one. Now we will leave you to conquer your realms. Please consider letting us know what you think of the game or what you would like to see coming next. So there we go. So let's have a read through the details here. So research scaling, the way knowledge costs are determined for skills in tomes has changed. Instead of the tier of the skill determining the cost, the knowledge cost is now based on the amount of tomes you have collected so far. So every new tome you unlock will have an increased knowledge cost of skills compared to the tome before, regardless of what tier the tome or the skill actually is. So the general knowledge cost of tome skills has increased, especially near the mid to late game tomes. So the base knowledge cost for skills for tomes are as follows. So the first tome, general research, so 250, and then it just scales up from that particular point in time. I'm not sure what it really was before that. Again, haven't really noticed it, to be honest, for all that much. So individual skills in a tome now have a skill level. Actually, comments that people were saying that they enjoyed it, but I didn't really notice it that much. So individual skills in a tome now have a skill level, so adept, intermediate, or expert. This adds a modifier to the knowledge cost. So different skills inside a tome can still differ in cost as they did previously. Now, I'm not noticing this either. I didn't notice this at all. I don't know where that's actually listed. Changing tome tier unlocking. Instead of needing 2 tomes of the previous tier, you just need a certain number of tomes of any tier. This means that players can choose more low-level tomes without slowing down their progress towards high-level tomes. So yep, that's 2 tomes of any tier, 4 tomes of any tier for tier 3, 6 tomes of any tier, and 8. Yeah, I'm not sure how that would actually work as well. Again, I didn't see that in the game either. So that for me didn't actually. I'm hoping I'm playing with the Watcher update. I'm assuming I am. Tier 3 tomes now require 3 affinity points to be unlocked. Okay, that's I did see that. Yeah, that's okay. That's fine. All right, so that's what that is, right? So that's actually they're using the affinity points to then dictate what you do with the tomes, not the tomes themselves. Right. Okay, that makes sense. So Magic rework, Major Victory rework. So the new Magic Victory rework focuses on the binding of the. I didn't actually really play with that one, so I'll skip over that one. Summoning casting changes. We added a new system to limit how many spells can be launched each turn, as well as tightening the rules about where units can be summoned. So added a spell slot system that limits the number of spells that the players can prepare without actually casting them. This prevents the player from banking up a lot of spells. I need to cast them all at once. I never did that, so that was an exploit. Summoning spells can now only be targeted on hexes outside your city, your ruler, or your heroes. Yep, I'd noticed that one. That was good, actually. That was sort of like back in the old Age of Wonders games. And it's funny because not even inside your territory, it has to be literally next to the city. So previously they could be targeted on any visible hex, but it still feels natural. It feels good. Starting casting points increased from 30 to 45. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, it was. I didn't have as many summons as what I would expect, but it was good. It did feel good. Changed the casting point cost for combat spells to make it easier to cast higher tier spells and have casting points left for other spells. So, yep, that's just still with summoning. Several world map spells have been made more consistent. They have made their damage or other effectiveness increased while being slightly harder to cast repeatedly, making for fewer but more impactful actions. Okay, map improvements. We're tackling several elements in the map generation, but we've seen the community provide an update on. The focus of these improvements will be the underground experience, but we've touched up the overall map generation as well. So rework map generation. Rename player distance to relative map size. Okay, replace the far setting with a new, okay, that's fine. Added a new large setting, which has a map size in between that of medium and very large. All right, added tooltips. It's probably the underground is going to be the thing that's going to be interesting. Actually change the continent generation to allow for more varied maps and small islands to form in the water. Okay, that sounds good. Improvements. So improve player placement in the underground to better take into account the positions on the surface. All right, and I did notice that, like we were sort of underneath, there was good proximity to different things. So cities can now annex provinces on the opposite layer through the underground passages. This is possible when provinces on both sides of an underground passage are annexed. Yeah, this is... I should say this is not possible when provinces on both sides, because you can actually now go through the underground, like from the top layer to the underground layer, and actually claim what's underneath or vice versa above, and sort of start to expand that way as well. So exploring an underground passage gives you vision on both sides. Yep, okay, that's good. Adding a world map visual for when an underground passage is in an... So added a world map visual for when an underground passage is... Yeah, that's actually good. That allows you to just quickly sort of click on something. Magic ingredients are now split between the surface and underground, whereas ores are only able to spawn in the underground. Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't realise that. Right. Well, that's interesting. I mean, it's only magic ingredients. It's not actually. It's not like gold or anything like that. That's just the ore magic. The magic ingredient. Excavatable provinces in the underground now have a special FX to show what a structure or node is hidden underneath. I might just start the game up actually, if you don't mind, because I don't know if there's one ore in each of the different locations. If we just go and play it, let's have a bit of a look and see. As I say, I'm towards the back end of the current game that I'm actually playing. Let's continue. Alright, so this is the current game. So we're just really in the final stages. Just have to destroy this city and then it's game over. But at this point in time... so the thing, I'll just go through a few of the things that I've sort of noticed. This is what they're referring to. You can actually just go and click on these, get taken straight through. It says if you control it. We don't control that. But where there is actually an underground, overground, it's now very, very prominent. So you can sort of then just go and click on it and sort of move between the two. You can, I had to save scum this because the city above actually did claim the province underneath, and I did want this province for the late game, although I haven't made use of it, to be honest. The progression for the cities has actually been good. It's been slower, which I have enjoyed. As far as the actual locations, so what are we having through here? We've got a this is a fire forged stone, which is a magic material. I'm guessing that's an ore. If we have a look at a few of the others, what else did they have? I'm assuming it doesn't mean gold. Surely it wouldn't mean that. Quarries. There's a mine there. Yeah, then there's gold on the top. But the resources that they said was with the ores. If we have a look at the magic materials, or not sure. So arcanium ore must be underground somewhere, I'm guessing. Yep, so that one's there. Fireforged stone we've seen. Tranquility pool, haven't seen any of those. Oh, there's only the one ore. That doesn't make sense. Oh, sorry, all of these. So, okay, this whole group has to be underground. So focus crystals will be somewhere else. So, yeah, if we can get hold of focus crystals, they'll be, I don't know where they'll be. They'll be around somewhere. But anyway, that's interesting to sort of see that one. So that's where that one actually is. Let's go back to the list. Crossplay, so starting, yeah, I won't worry about this one. This is just going through the various GOG and Epic, etc., etc. improved memory efficiency, improved optimizations for tactical banners and images that require that frequently update their opacity. This is where I think that one of the problems could be corrected to make it feel more immersive would be to even to do more with this, so that you're focused more on the actual character rather than the actual icon when you're in battle. Increase the racial affinity points given by traits from racial council events from +1 to +2. I'm not sure how that one actually kicks in. Rename publish to build in the package manager as it's more fitting. Okay, that's nothing. Alright, so we've got AI world map behaviour updates. So mission generation and evaluation. Updated the AI aggression when calculating the army powers required to fight. Updated the AI mission army calculation when targeting independence. Added survivability and damage modifiers based on the world threat settings. Increased the mission distance range to generate more things for the AI to do at longer range. Yeah, again, I haven't noticed that, but I would take their word that that's been done. Updated defense logic, so cities with walls no longer have the always defend flag. This opens up additional units for the AI to use. When under threat, the AI will defend according towards the threat. Thrown cities under siege will become a forced defense. Changes how the AI takes siege durations into account when attacking and defending. I thought they did that anyway, to be honest. I've noticed that they did that one very, very well, with still building up as big a force as possible to then take you on. Updated AI summon logic, so removed a limit that restricts summons to where there is a combat nearby. Now the AI will summon units as soon as they are primed. The AI no longer needs to have a standing threat near their leader or cities to start summoning units, and increase the research priority of units and summons. Okay. Increase the priorities of each summon spell by the tier of the units they would summon. Now, I haven't seen much of that in the game, but that's I'm playing on just normal. I'm not playing on hard. Expansion updates, so added simple support to stop friendly and allied AIs from expanding towards the player's domain. Okay, that's interesting because that didn't happen either. The friendly AI did actually expand into my domain. Yeah, that's weird. That's not happening. Okay, so change rule. Yeah, this is weird actually. This is because I was thinking it's not dramatically different. Change rule regarding clearing ancient wonders. The AI will now clear them when they are in annex range to cities and outposts, and they have been doing that. That's good. So they're not leaving them for me. Changed empire development rules. So rule sets now include taking into account free cities that could be integrated instead of only new cities. Yep, okay. And implemented new free city expansion rules. When fully independent, they will expand in a circular pattern. When they are a vassal, they will default to pick the highest value again. Okay, that's good. So they're just playing a little bit smarter. All right, so the AI diplomatic behaviour update. So AI update for the threat system. The threat system will have been expanded to look at several new factors and been tweaked to achieve more competition with nearby rulers and rulers that are competing in overall ranking. Again, I didn't see that. I'll take their word that that's actually in there. The impact of a need a friend and need an ally modifiers is reduced for Warlord and Isolationist personalities. Okay, that's good. The need an ally, yeah, so again, this is all nuanced, too nuanced for what I saw in the game I was playing. The system now takes defensive packs into account more and no longer waits for a full allegiance before applying certain factors. Some AI players will have a predisposition to their threat level towards higher or lower threat, and generally AI rulers should initially act more threatened and hostile, which they definitely did. Yeah, so it was actually a more difficult. You didn't just end up immediately with friends. It did take time to sort of just sit around where they sort of were looking at you, with sideways. The threat level was certainly higher at the start. AI update for making declarations. The amount of declarations that will be made by a player by the AI is now more balanced. The AI should no longer abundantly declare friendships on a player unless the player declares a friendship on them. Yeah, I didn't have any friendship declarations at all in the game I was playing. Isolationists no longer declare friendships unless it is declared on them, and so an issue was fixed where the influence of ranking... Isn't that the same thing? Maybe it's just abundantly. The word abundantly is what it's referring to. An issue was fixed where the influence of ranking of declarations was inverted, so added a 2-turn cooldown for the AI to manually send a call to war after the diplomatic state with a player they called into a war has changed. All right, so we've got normal difficulty, increased mana, income. So this is where the AI is cheating. Normal, I do like to have normal as 1-to-1. So they're getting more mana, getting more knowledge a little bit, and remove your unit upkeep and unit cost discounts. Yeah, I'm not sure. Hard just goes up slightly. So we're basically playing on hard with mana, and gold was 1-to-1. Increased knowledge, yeah, from 1 to 1.2. Yeah, I should have played on hard. Reduced unit discount from 33 to 15. It's funny, that went backwards actually. So they've made it easier for them to get stuff, but then they've made it... okay, this is interesting. So they did have a discount before. Now they're just getting more actual resources. Actually, well, that's actually sort of... That does even that out. It's not actually... It's not... so the cheat was the unit upkeep and cost. Now they're just getting a little bit extra. So they're doing it the other way around. That's okay. All right, we'll go with that. We'll believe that one. So updated unit production logic. The AI will no longer always produce units, but tries to keep up with the strongest human player. They try to have at least X% more army power than the human player. That's good. I've noticed that as well. They have actually been doing very, very well. Changed disbanding unit logistics. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Block the AI from replace. Yeah, that's okay. Yep, so block the AI from replacing gold, mana, and special province improvements. Yeah, that's good. Added support for the AI. Yeah, I did notice that actually they had a lot less of these special things that they used to be building all the time. So change the AI research values to have a focus on units, transformations, and unit enchantments. Okay, let's change the AI evaluation. Yeah, but that's okay. All right, so there is actually even more detailed notes back in through here as well. But that's, as I say, like it was actually... Yeah, like it's hard to spot it, to be honest. It's fun to play. It's funny because I didn't mention other things. There's one thing that I find quite funny, actually. If I just have a quick look at this one here. What will it give us? Watch updates. Actually, yeah, I think actually there was a lot more in here. So we've got all those. That was the AI. Yeah, we did all that. Art. Added, yeah, that's nothing. Combat. All enemies have routed dialogue will now pop up even in temporary summons. Yeah, that's okay. Modified the XP. Okay, there's nothing much. Yeah, we won't worry about that one so much. Okay, that's interesting. Heavy shield now gives +1 resistance. Alright, this is all just little bits and pieces. Diplomacy. People are asking if the diplomacy was any different. I didn't notice this either, to be honest. Added an Imperium cost for releasing cities as your own vassals. This cost increases as you release more. That's interesting. I didn't do that, so I didn't actually notice it. Nothing much else there. Empire. Yep, again, I'm just not noticing these things. Didn't notice those either. Yeah, the limbo system has come in, so if you actually do take an item off a hero, you can't immediately apply it to another hero. So that was actually, I did see that one. That was good, actually. I did enjoy that. I didn't enjoy it, as in I didn't get excited about it, but it was still, it was good to have it there. At least you have to sort of think about it a little bit now. Hero skills. Yeah, okay, I didn't really come into those. Okay, the interface in the army panel, you can now see predictions of hit points of your units, as well as allies and enemies will regenerate in the next turn. This is not good if you're even slightly colourblind, which I'm a little bit colourblind, and the yellow is so close to the green, it's not funny. It's very hard to see it. I'll show you what I mean. If I go back into where my actual army is. Now, some of these have actually have had issues see how that one there's like a little yellow area at the back end of this. It's got 63 of 67 health points, this particular unit, but it will heal those up next turn. That yellow I find extremely hard to see, like extremely hard. And similarly back over here, like this one here has got like this is 65 of 71, but the yellow is then showing that it's going to heal up naturally next turn. I mean, it's more pronounced. I think these have had other fights. They're probably all healed up. I've got this one over here. Yeah, that one there is healing up. Like if I move this unit out into here, for example, see how it dropped? And then if I move it back in again, it will then fill back up again. That's the yellow there. So that's actually what's going on. But again, it's so close to the green. If they reverse the what is it, the vignette, the gradient. If the gradient was reversed so that the deeper green was at the other end where the yellow starts, that would work. That'd be good. But they don't. It goes the other way. So that yellow green doesn't work for me. But still good to have it there. Better to have it there than not. Okay, what else have we got there? That was one that did bother me. Nothing much else in there. I'm not playing multiplayer. Okay, so the Pantheon, the question before about is there a list of your heroes that actually have won? That's the Pantheon onboarding. So updated Magical Victory tutorial. Okay, I haven't played that with the Magical Victory. Tomes reduce the casting points given by tier 3, tier 4 and tier 5 tomes at plus 10 plus, okay, 2 plus 5. All right, that's because of the new tome system. Astral, yep, scrying, yeah, that's okay. So this is just changes to all the tomes. We won't worry about looking at those. And then fixes, okay, so this is just different things. There's a lot of changes. They're just not dramatic. It's not big. Like when the changes came for Planetfall, they were monstrously big. You could notice them as soon as you started playing. They're just little things in here. So it's good that it's here, but it's not really all that. It's not impactful with what it actually does do. So anyway, I'm still enjoying playing it though. And so it's again a really, really cool game. Now reading a few more of the comments. So Cat's not saying not dramatic like Planetfall, only 5 planets. There's a lot of changes, but you don't notice them. And it's funny because I'm aware of that because when I was playing it, people kept on saying, "What's the AI like now? What's the diplomacy like?" And I really was scratching my head, thinking, I don't notice the differences. They must be there, but I just didn't notice them, which is fine. But it just wasn't in your face. Whereas in Planetfall, they were really, really dramatic changes. Okay, so. Okay, so Gary Oka saying Distant Worlds team published a blog post. Okay, so back in, if I go to Distant Worlds in here, Distant Worlds 2, didn't notice anything. It's funny, this is going backwards again. It's so much better than that rating. This is now 70% in here, but it's yeah, it's weird. It's weird that that people aren't loving the game because it really is one of the best games out there. Now, if we go back in, this is an old post. I think is there anything else that came out, or was it on the Slytherin store? Yeah, I'm not sure. Dom UK is saying that the. You've got Gary was then saying Distant Worlds team published a blog post. I wonder where that is. It's not on Steam, unless it's actually in the news area. Yeah, 3rd of August. That's old now. We've already covered all that. And I think that the actual. This particular one was 12th of August, so that's old as well now. Oh no, August 16th, that's only a few days away, a few days ago. Again, there's always changes. They're coming pretty thick and fast with the game. But God, it's a good game. Distant Worlds is really an exceptionally good game. We won't go to Steam charts. What did I want to do? I'll just leave that one where that is. So, Yep, so Oliver's saying, well, a lot of studios want to have something brand new for Gamescom. Actually, I've meant to look at Gamescom. We'll have to do that next week, because I think next week it's still in the middle of Gamescom. Gamescom, I think, starts today, I think. I may be wrong about that. It's funny, because in Australia, we don't, like where I am, I've never been to a Gamescom or a Comic Con or any of those sorts of things. They do have them in the southern states, but not where I am. So I've never actually been to one of them. I'd love to go one day, but it just I don't know when that would be. Dominic UK is saying end of August has both Distant Worlds 2 and Master of Magic DLC out then. Yeah, they seem like they're going to be pretty close together. Castor's saying not dramatic like Planetfall. Yeah, we did that one. And Oliver's then saying, well, a lot of studios, we've done that one. And Oliver's saying maybe your last game had an AI which used the old script instead of taking the new one. An easy way to ensure the older version save game has less problems. Not sure actually. It was definitely the new version. I just don't think it's dramatic. That's all it is. Like certainly when I met the AI, they were more aggressive, which was good. And the battles have not been easy. They've been still, but I always have played on hard mode up until this particular game that I've been playing, and so it feels like hard mode. So yeah, maybe it has changed for the best. Michael's saying I think that they changed the buildings too in the cities. It would help if one's let's plays to the orc instead of building the standard mana obelisk one. But yeah, that's actually true. That would give you a much better immersion. And it would actually, that would be good. And just tweak a few of the numbers here and there would be good. Michael's then saying maybe more low-level units specialised to each race. Yeah, there is, again, that's something that I think, you're right. I mean, it's instead of it just being cosmetic, as Arx is saying, watching ChatTactic live and getting notification about the new videos released equals heaven. So this is from Gamescom. Castor's saying, looks like the post is out on Distant Worlds, a non-beta forum for Matrix games. Okay, so let's have a look at that one. Look at the Matrix is up through here. Have a bit of a read. So I'll be covering this tomorrow, as I say, in 22 hours from now. Press releases. No, it won't be that one. Distant Worlds 2. Was it the one? That's the beta. It's old. That's the announcements. Okay, it must be this one here. Slytherin. It's on the Slytherin page. Okay, we'll get there eventually. Yeah, I have asked if I'm allowed to show the Gizarians and Quamino, but I'm not sure yet. Right, so this is August 18th, so a few days ago. Earlier this year we published the blah blah blah. Okay, what do we get? We do get more Hive stuff. We've covered the pirate cruisers. Repeatable text we covered last week. I think we've covered all this actually. The rest of this will focus on how we make a DLC. So it's really just more of an insight. I think we'll skip over this actually. Yeah, it's just really going through the steps that they take, which is interesting, but it's probably not really something we want to be doing now. So this is what Discovery has. New expanded Hive faction. Yep, new logic, new events, new fleet AI for the Hive. Yep, we went through all this, I think. Strengthened Pirates, we went through that as well. Repeatable text, we went through. Yeah, so we've actually covered all of this. I think we covered all of that one. So anyway, great game. Awesomely good game. Well, I think it's time to do our marble run, guys. Actually, what I will do is I'll just have a quick look at the games that I've been playing, just to just see if there's anything that's worth giving a thumbs up to at this point in time. So if I just go back into my library and click on these. So yeah, having a bit of a look. So Menace, yeah, the announcement, we've done that one. We've spoken about, so this is actually a Slytherin editorial. So this is actually just going through with the coming DLC. Again, I put out a video, I think yesterday or the day before, actually released a video on the DLC that's coming. So, and also I compared it back from the original game all the way through, just to show what each DLC and each update actually does bring to the game, because there's a lot in the game now. Really awesome game, Master of Magic. Solaris, I haven't played that for so long. Now, on the Western Front, I did want to talk about this one, but I haven't really been able to get into it. I'm struggling to understand how to play it, but it rates really, really highly. So if I might just quickly have a look at this one here and just go to the store page. Not very many people are playing it, but I do want to mention it because it looks like the sort of game a lot of you guys would actually like to play. It's essentially a simulator for World War I trench warfare. And I won't play this as such, but I just cannot get my head into how to play the game. And so you've got all these different trench systems. You can build your own trench systems when you're playing. You start off with a trench system as well. And you've got different scenarios as well, like you can sort of play. So it's sort of it's semi-random with what it actually does do, and you've got to then try to figure out what the enemy's got, what to do. But I just haven't been able to get into it. But the actual reviews are very positive. So there's 86%. So it's actually rated very, very highly. And the developer actually sent it through to me and said that it seems like the sort of game I would play. And I wanted to like it, but I don't understand it yet. The tutorials are really clunky, and they're just not making a lot of sense. But I thought I'd just mention it because it may be something that you guys would enjoy. I know some of you would enjoy this, where essentially you do have like different. If I just open these up, I don't know if we can sort of see it too much. It's got a degree of simplicity about it, but and it's not actually historically, any one particular place. It's not like it really is just it's a simulator. It's a World War I trench warfare simulator, where you do actually have like from rifle brigade to battalion to companies to platoons. So you got down to platoon level that you can then sort of give different instructions to. Michael just saying no giveaway today. How about a best of? Yeah, let's do that. So yeah, it looks like a recap of Eric's stream. Yes, Eric's stream was awesomely good. So Roger's saying if you can't figure out how to play Western Front, then I don't have a chance. You and BM Battle Mode helped me a lot with Shadow Empire. Yeah, look, this does look like a good game, but and I've only played it a short amount. But the tutorial system is you struggle with it. I think that if somebody did a video on it, and that's probably why I've been contacted. I think it would actually put it into context so much easier than the actual tutorial system itself, because it does look like it's got some interesting aspects about it. Where each actual unit you're sort of then moving around on the actual battle map itself. But I just haven't got into it yet. You got different sorts of scenarios. The theaters. The maps are randomly generated to a degree, but they do follow like an algorithm, and then readout is literally a small version. So if I'm going to cover it, that would be the one that I would then go and cover. But it does look interesting. But as I say, no one's really done a proper video on how to play the game. It's got like air superiority. There's a lot of complexity in this, but for me at the moment, it's just a little bit too complex for me to sort of then put the time in. But I'm intrigued by the amount of positive reviews for the actual game itself. But when you read the reviews, or when I read the other day, I recommend you check this game out. Yeah, it does have its problem. For example, tutorials are confusing. The tutorials are really confusing. And these were from some time ago, like a lot of these reviews as well. Like the game has changed. A lot of the negative reviews no longer actually are applicable. Let's just turn that off. But yeah, no, that's something that was there. I'll just go back. Rising Lords. I do want to get into this game again as well. Like it's a game that when were we talking about that one? Was it last week? I went and had a quick look at that one. I think I've got it in here. I played it back there. So that's Rising Lords way back there. Yeah, a week ago. So I did actually start it again, and I thought actually it's worth looking at again. This I've got to get back into this one. This one looks like it's again been improved a lot. Now Menace is a game that is that I've recorded a video for it, but I haven't processed it yet. So it includes a new incursion system. Yeah, so this is actually a really interesting game actually. So that's that was one that I was just playing yesterday. So in through here, and this one again rates really highly. I hadn't heard of it. It came out in 2019, but they've just done a big update. This one rates at 94%, like 90% in recent times. Now, normally I get turned off by this sort of combat, but it's actually not bad. And I haven't got to this stage where it's this difficult. Like this is deep into the game, but it's not a roguelite where you're sort of running around, running and gunning. You sort of is to a degree, but it's actually more about a building aspect. You build your settlement. So you build your settlement up, and you've then got to manage the settlement. So it's more about this aspect than the fighting aspect. I'll try to point things out. You've then got different characters that will then come and join your settlement as well, so you can recruit people to help you. And then you settle everything up. So it's got a RimWorld feel to it. It's like a combination of like a roguelite, Minecraft as well. You can see here it certainly has like a RimWorld sort of feel about it. It's like a bit of a hybrid between a lot of different sorts of things. You've got it. Actually, that's the rooming of the settlers, exploring the world. The world is really big and procedural as well. Everything is procedural, so big ticks for that. And there's lots of different areas you go into. Underground, it's different again. So you can actually bring your forces underground, but then there's dangers underground. There we go. So we've got like giant spiders and things. This is above ground. Actually, this is underground as well. Also, there's another game, I can't remember what it was, but it was like a one where you went down through layers, and is it Starbound? I think Starbound is a little bit like this as well, but it's really well done. This is late level combat, but the combat is not as crazy as it looks. I was not looking forward to it, to be honest. I wasn't even going to cover it because of the combat that I saw in here, but it actually works very well. So you've got you've got heroes that are coming in to help you. But this looks absolutely crazy, doesn't it? This turned me off, to be honest. But this is not what the game is really all about. It seems to be much more about this aspect. The actual, and so this is it's as I say, I'm pretty blown away by playing the game. More like an adventure farming game. Yeah, to a degree. Like, so you're trying to build up your settlement, and to do that you need to go down and open up different areas underground. One thing it doesn't show in any of this stuff, I'll just see if I can find it. It's not showing the actual world map. The world map is I'll open the game up. Screw it, we'll do that. Hang on, just bear with me. I'll exit out of this one. Yeah, so it's not Stardew Valley. No, I don't think so. It's but this is it's an interesting game, very interesting game. But there's no active pause at all, so it's actually can be played cooperatively as well. So you can actually have like multiple people playing in the same, like, so you're playing together. I don't think it was Stardew Valley that I'm thinking of. I think it's Starbound is the one that I'm thinking of. I'll just go continue. I'll just continue the actual one I'm playing. And so this is sort of like where it actually is, but the actual combat itself is fairly easy. So I can just sort of walk across, just WASD keys. This is very early on. Hang on, I meant to show what I was going to show, wasn't I? Just go back up again. So that's the underground in through there. In this case, if I just go and press N, this is interesting here as well. This is procedurally generated land areas, and so you've got like different sorts of things where you have areas around here that you can then go and sort of start to walk around, a bit again like Minecraft, where you're sort of going further and further away, finding different things. I've found out some information. There's a dungeon down this way, so I can actually make my way across. So I can walk to the edge of the map and then go to the next location, then keep on going further and further down. So this works very, very well. So this is actually fairly interesting. And then we've also just got the actual map itself. So if I press M, this is the map of this particular region that I'm actually in. So it's sort of like the for this particular region I'm playing in. And then down underground, again, it's not dramatic, although there was. If I just press number 2, that's my wooden sword. I think I got killed here. Yeah, that's where I just got killed. There's vampires in here. Vampires are going to come out fairly quickly. There we go. Pick up all of that stuff. Vampires are really tough. Going to get killed again. Yep. So I'm pretty crap at this sort of game, but it has been fun to play. So I would need to come in with a team to actually clear out those vampires. And you saw there in the other thing, it actually does go across. Yeah, Terraria. That's what I was thinking of, Terraria. Yeah, it's very much like Terraria, where you can play with multiplayer, etc., etc. Anyway, that's that one. Let's just go and get out of there. And main menu and quit. Just finish off the rest of these bits and pieces in the library. See if there's anything else worth talking about. So Dwarf Fortress, there's been other changes here, but nothing important. Against the Storm is getting ready for more big updates. So I was playing a little bit of that this week as well, just to sort of try to get my head back into that game. All right, and other games I've been playing, Gal Civ 4, having a lot of fun with that as well. Dwarf Fortress, I'm starting to sort of do a regular Friday video on that one from now on, hopefully. Although there's not many people watching that one at this stage, so I'll see how that one goes. Master of Magic, of course, coming out very, very soon. And Rogue Station, I've got to do a video on this one as well. This one looks very, very good, but I'll talk about that one maybe next week after I've sort of done the video. All right, let's play marbles. Let's get this marble run done. We'll do the, it's not really like Don't Starve. It's Terraria was the game I was thinking of. It feels very much like Terraria when you're sort of underground, but you can't actively pause. So you can't sort of actively pause, then change your weapons or anything like that. You've got to use the keyboard shortcuts. So it's a bit fast for me, but it's still good. Dominic K saying Dwarf Fortress Linux mode is very important. How dare you? I'm just waiting for the door breakers or the furniture breakers to be fixed. And so I've been waiting for months since launch actually, and it just hasn't been fixed up. I thought that would be a really, really easy fix. Anyway, let's go back in, and we are going to do Marble Run. So I will get everything ready. We'll go and ditch these. So yeah, no giveaway today, unfortunately, guys. So we'll actually I'll just go back to there, minimize, bring this one across. So hang on, before I do that, I do need to bring in. Too late. Need to get you guys to get ready to put your name down. I'll let it load. I did click right when it was trying to load, which is never a good thing. All right, here we go. Get good old Nightbot in and log in. Okay, giveaways. Okay, so what we'll do is I'll just use the keyword brag. So, because it's only for bragging rights, that's all you've got today. So, so if you just type in the brag into the chat, we'll then sort of do it from there. Confused is saying nothing to do with updates, but how did you make your desktop look like that? It's a thing that Stardock, who put out Gal Civ 4, also do a lot of Windows type stuff, and it's a thing called Fences. So Fences, you can actually get it from Steam. Do I have Steam open? I don't. Just open it up. Pretty sure it's available on Steam now. It used not be, but it's I think it's come fairly recently. Fences 4, there it is. So I don't have this version. I've got the desktop version, but that's what it is. So it says mostly positive, 74%. I really like it. I like it a lot. It allows me to sort of, I can have multiple. I've got like one for my actual day work. It's on a completely different screen. It's really easy to sort of go from in between those. Anyway, that's what that one is. Okay, so get your names in, guys. Get your names in. So go back across, and all right, we're getting a fair few in there. Right, I'll just wait. So we'll do a best of 3. We'll do 3 today. It's a cross confused. It's a cool app. Yes, it is. It's very, very good. I've had it for decades actually. It's been around for a long period of time, and it just gets better and better. But it's it does have like a funny thing where my screen goes black at different times. The icons still show up, but I've always liked having it. It's been a good little thing. All right, so have we still got a few words, a few of them coming back in. Got 33 up to 34. I'll just let it go a little bit longer. So Jenna is saying, what's the app name? It's called Fences 4. And as I say, you can get it from Steam or you can get it from Stardock. The version I've got is from Stardock. So Cassina saying Fences and Multiplicity. I haven't looked at that one. Great Stardock apps. I used to use one that came from the top as well. Like but I found that was a bit buggy, and so I got rid of that. And I'm using Nexus, I think, is what I use it for the top, which I find really quite handy as well. But I found the Nexus one did a better job ultimately than the Stardock one, but that was years ago that I changed over. But Fences itself has been great. All right, I think that we are ready, guys. So we're going to close it off there. 34 players. Okay, we'll copy those, and I'll put myself in as well. So 35, all right, and edit, replace, find and replace. Okay, and replace with nothing, I think. Yep, that's okay. Yep, that worked, good. So we'll save that one. Yep, I think we're there, so that's good. We'll just close it off there, so we'll save that. So 35 names. I'll just go back into the race area, go into settings. Oops, hang on, don't want to do that. We'll open up the marble names, open. And finish. All right, and we don't need to do that one so much. Now, if we go with we can just do any old thing, can't we? Really. So I'm guessing if we I haven't done this before, but I'll just change this one to 35. Simulation is what we'll be playing, so that will then use those names. We've got we'll go Princess Rage 1, we'll go Mountain Pass. Whoops, I didn't add it in. How do we add them in? Grand Prix. Not sure how to do this. Standard maps. Raging Pin, okay, that'll do. Marble Centauri, here we go. Selected maps. And one more. Just any old thing will do. Express delivery, there we go. So we'll try, actually, why didn't it do that one? Oh, maps 2, 3. There we go. So I'm assuming that will then be all we have to do. I haven't ever done this before. It's probably good to do this when we're not actually doing any giveaways. That way if I screw it up, it doesn't really matter that much. All right, good luck, guys. Here we go. So the first map will be the Raging Pin, I think. So it's a Grand Prix. So waiting to start. So we'll get started. 10, 9. Actually, I'm not seeing the numbers. I'm not seeing the names. No winner. Okay. What happened there? Just go back. What did I do wrong? Must have changed the settings while I was doing all this. So we'll go back to Grand Prix. Oh, it's supposed to be simulation. That's what it was. The numbers will still be there, I think. So we've still got the names. All right. So doesn't matter what we go for, I guess. House of Pain. Sounds good. We'll go with three maps. Rusty Remnant and Temple of Steve. There we go. We'll play these. Okay, that'll do us. So good luck again, guys. We'll try it again. Right, now just a question there. Voodoo Dog saying, do you have fences on a multi-monitor setup, and have you had problems with fences appearing on the wrong monitor? No, never. Never had any problems. No, I do use it on multi-monitor, and it's for both monitors. So basically it treats the monitor selection as one big one. I'm thinking that's how it sort of works, because I only use it on one monitor though, to be honest. So I just pull it across the other stuff, but I'm pretty sure I can still drag things across. I haven't tried it on my other monitor, to be honest. So yeah, but I've never had any problems with it, even going from screen to screen, because I've got a screen for recording. If I'm just got like an isolated game, I've got a whole lot of work stuff on another screen as well. Right, good luck. Here we go. So start the race. And who's the first one through? Bruno. We've got Marius. He'll be the first one out of here. Marius is the first one out. But who gets this middle bit in through here? Marco. Marco, followed by Marius, followed by Castanar, Oliver. Back through this other side. Let's just come back down. I'll just press number 2 over this other side. Dom UK. It's a bit cleaner if I do it this way. So Marco's slightly out in front. Actually, no, Dom UK has now hit the lead. Yep, so these guys on this other side. Mad Hat Raven Desk is now coming first, followed by Phobius. So straight down this hole. We'll see where we are at the end of this. Sorry if you're getting if anything's sort of happening there. Now there's Marco way on the other side there. Straight through. And so we're actually following. This is Dom UK. Whoa. And straight through. Oh no, Mad Hat Raven Desk has now hit the lead. In you go. Are you through? Are you through? No, you're not. Yes, you are. These are going to come up. Are they going to come up? They're going to come up. No, they're not. You're through and you are done. So well done. That's first game goes to Mad Hat Raven Desk, followed by Dom UK. We've got Bruno Briggers coming third at this stage. Let's just go back to 4th place. Tape Saturator coming in 4th. I'll just go back out to 9th place so we can sort of see a few of the others coming back in here. Everyone's now coming into the actual game itself. So let's just move on up and just see where they all are. Who's coming last? So Sorbicol really struggling back here. Come on, you can do it. I don't know if you've got a hope in hell of getting through now to the next round. Oh, straight through there, but oh no, there we go. Everyone else is finished. We're just waiting for you to get through this bit of it. Yep, you're around. Are you going to come last? Sorry about this, guys. It's a bit hard to... Oh no, Zarks is there as well. You may not come last. You're not, actually. Oh, yes, you are. Sorry, guys. It's really awkward to try to do this. Yep, no, Sorbical coming in last. All right, that's that game. Okay, so we've got Mad Hat Raven Desk coming out in front. So we've got now. Hang on, if I press escape, here we go. Set final result. So that's the placing. So we go all the way down to 35th place at Sorbicol. Points are awarded. Saying that there's no points. It Doesn't make sense for this. Not sure why it's not showing up with the different points. Anyway, because you should be getting points with your first places and things. Anyway, we'll see what happens with the next map. So the next one is going to be House of Pain, was it? No, Rusty Remnant. I think the last one was House of Pain. Okay, good luck again. So we'll start this race. This is 2 of 3. Okay, who's going to be the first one out? Tiny Mutant, followed by FDS and Confused. So we've got a different list. We've got Tarank, Warden, CB. So none of the leaders really coming through in this particular one. In fact, Marco's way at the back. So some of the others are dropping down in the middle there. But will they get ahead? So who's going to come through here? We've got Tiny Mutant Squid. We've got FD is coming through as well with Warden. Actually, everyone's sort of in through here now. We've got Warden and FD. Warden's now slightly ahead. They're both going down the same way. We've got Tarank and Chondi coming back through this other side. We'll just watch what actually happens in through this other side as they come through these loops. So still Warden and FD, they're really following each other very, very closely here. This will sort them out when they come through this other side. We've got 2 groups now coming back in the other side as well. So FD goes in, and Warden, who's going to come out the other side first? Oh, it's FD. Went straight through, actually. Straight through. Looks like we've miles out in front now. Miles out in front. We've got Voodoo Dog and Ridiculous with Warden, Dom UK. Everyone else is back up through the top there. We've still got Brandon Peach and Mike Gillespie. Mad Hat Raven Desk way at the back. But FD looks to have a clear run through now for this particular run. So we'll see how we go. Moving through. Okay, still got some marbles in that big tumbler. So everyone's spread right out, but FD is miles out in front, going very, very slowly. I don't know if this will sort anyone out. Yeah, FD's gone down the long road, and Warden has gone the long road as well. Ridiculous has gone the other way. Who's going to get the speed up? Okay, this Reed may get through. No, we're already there now. Already there. Final little piece. Warden's closed the gap. Whoa! And they're neck and neck now. I forget what the slow-mo is. Is it T? Yeah, T is slow-mo. Let's I'll remember that for when we get closer into this sort of area. Oh, Voodoo Dog's out. Voodoo Dog's dropped off the map, and so is Rogue. But Warden's now hit the lead, and Reed has now come into second place. So Warden is actually going to hit this hit the winning area first. So Warden wins race 2, followed by Baseline and Jamison, Marius, Chondri, and then Reed back in through there. FD finally. God, you were miles out in front. How did you come in so far down? 7th place. So long way back. Now, do we see any there that were in the top list before? And I don't think we did. So this has actually been really quite nicely spread out. We've got a couple that dropped off. There's Drexy, Tape Saturator, Mad Hat Raven Desk at the back there, coming through. That's the last place. This is a nice little map, actually, this one. Looks very good. Just waiting for these 3. Whoops. And just got to wait. I don't have it on slow-mo anymore, guys. It's just Mad Hat Raven Desk is extremely slow. Coming through. There we go. Okay. So the winner is Warden. And now we've got, it's not remembering any of the stuff. We actually had a lot of people drop off in that last one. I don't know if it's what it's going to do with the points. It's weird, actually, isn't it? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. So it's showing, I don't know if that's the overall placement. Yeah, I don't know. Don't know how this is actually working. The point system doesn't seem to be sort of really working all that well. Anyway, we'll see who ends up. I don't know how we figure out who wins the next one. Let's go to the next map. Temple of Steve. This is the last one. So good luck, guys. No idea of what's happening with this one. So let's let it go. It's gonna be the first one down the hole. Sorbicol is closest, but that doesn't mean much. You want to be going slow at this point, I think. No, Sorbicol is actually out in front. Make up for the last place in the first race. Through they go. Yeah, Sorbicol is actually miles out in front now at this point in time. Sapior, CB. Actually, there's a bit of a change there. Just see how we go. Yeah, CB, Brandon, Sithel, Oliver. Yeah, there's a fair few. This will sort them out. Who's going to be the first one through here? It looks like it is. Wow, there's a big mix of them. Mike Gillespie, first one through. Sapior now coming second. CB coming back on the other side. Mike's clearly out in lead now. So Sapior, CB, Chondri, Castanar. Yep, so in through they go. Going two different ways. This could be interesting. Has anyone made it all the way through very, very easily? I don't think so yet. Let's have a look from here. Oh yeah, here we go. Sapior still out in the lead with CB really catching up. Oliver coming in back at the other side as well. So Sapior and CB are the first ones out, with Oliver coming in third. And Sapior straight through. Wow. Actually, CB got a massive boost there. Whoops, sorry guys. Sapior's still out in lead here. What's going to happen? Oh, this is moving. A moving target. Anything could happen here. Okay, this is going to sort people out. This is going to be a real lucky dip. Let's have a look and see what we can do here. Nope, CB's dead. Sapior's dead. Castanar's first in. There we go. And you know, Borean is the first one in. Oliver's in there, but a lot of them are dropping in. Bubo, Sithel's gone. This is a cool map. This is a cool map. It's Temple of Steve. I have to remember that. This is very nicely done. Jeez. Through the sieve. What a great idea. What an awesome idea. So we've got Baseline coming. Baseline coming in last at this stage. Well, Bruno's just made it in. And Baseline's not going to make it in, I don't think. Oh, yes, you will. You will indeed. So Borean actually won that one. We'll see the final results. Now, there we go. So it's saying this is the... This is for the actual race itself. Finish the Grand Prix, I guess. Okay, so who wins? So third place was Warden. Okay, so Warden came in third. This is actually pretty cool. Second place was Borean. So who's first? Is Mad Hat Ravendesk. There we go. You didn't actually win any of the races, but you must have got a few placements, I guess. So congratulations there, Mad Hat. You don't win anything. That was good. So, okay, there we go. So Mad Hat saying first place previous game, last place this game, universal balance has been achieved. So anyway, you won the actual the Grand Prix itself. I'm not sure how it all works, but anyway, that's what actually did happen. I thought that the points would be able to see the points from race to race, but there we go. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. So thanks for watching. I'll be back again next week. As I say, for my schedule this week will be to stream on Slytherin tomorrow, possibly stream on my own channel as well to get that Age of Wonders game out of the way. It won't take long to finish that one off. And yeah, let's hear the brags as Castanar, indeed. So okay, you won the first, won the last, and won death. There we go. Anyway, well done, guys, and I'll catch you next week. Hi, David. How you going? So so Distant Worlds tomorrow, and then sort of playing the other games. Basically, like I don't know what I'll play after Age of Wonders. I'll have to think about that, but I'll see what we get into. So thanks for participating, guys, and I'll catch you next week. If I don't see you on the other live streams, etc., I'll catch you then.